Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Ms. Dolan?
Here.
Ms. Belisca?
Present.
Mrs. McKnight?
Here.
Mayor Morgan?
Here.
Mr. Kogan?
Here.
Mr. Comiskey?
Here.
Let's salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's a public meeting, Borough Council, Borough of New Providence, County of Union, State of New Jersey. Adequate notice has been given in accordance with P.O. 1975, Chapter 231. That annual notice of revision was made in conformance with Section 13 of the Act. Okay, before we do go ahead, I want to get the proclamations out of the way. So, Annie, on up. All you do is really fast. How many years have we done this together? Yeah. Okay, whereas pediatric cancer is the leading cause of death by disease in children, and whereas 2/3 of pediatric cancer patients will have chronic health conditions as a result of their treatment toxicity, with 1/4 being classified as severe life-threatening, and whereas approximately 95% families dealing with cancer experience financial hardship, whereas only 6 new drugs have been approved by the FDA to specifically treat childhood cancer. And whereas hundreds of nonprofit organizations at the local and national level, including the Brooke Healy Foundation, are helping children with cancer and their families cope through educational, emotional, and financial support. And whereas researchers and healthcare professionals work diligently, dedicating their expertise to treat and cure children with cancer. Whereas experts truly believe cure to cancer, you have to focus on the cancers that are biggest bullies like
diffuse intrinsic pontine glioma, DIPG.
I have to do that every day. And whereas experts also believe that finding cure to DIPG can lead to significant advances in cancer research and aid, and whereas too many children are affected by deadly disease, and more must be done to raise awareness to find a cure. And therefore, I, Alan Morgan, Mayor of the Borough of New Providence, County of Union, State of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim September as Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month in New Jersey, New Providence, New Jersey, and encourage all Americans to observe Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month and support this cause and so deeply impacts our family and community across the country. Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for their support. Last year we didn't have as many people here. Next year I'll bring more bags, but there's just a couple here. If people want them, you can look me up and I will hook you up with some bags. I just want to thank Mr. Swanson, who I just met this evening. He's a cancer survivor, and he just handed me a dozen of these produce bags, which is amazing. He hand painted. So I greatly appreciate it. I'm going to use it at our fundraiser in September along with a handful of these bags. So thank you. And to everybody in town, I've grown up here since I was little, moved here since 1969, lived a few years in Berkeley Heights, but New Providence has always been home. So it's a great place to be and raise your kids, and you're blessed if you live here and raise and do. So thank you for all your support. Appreciate it.
Where's Mo and Cram? Are they here? Oh, there you go. Years already. Whereas Sproutling's Educational Child Care Center located at 755 Central Avenue in New Providence is a unique, family-owned child care center whose mission is to create a place where the whole family is welcome, nurtured, and can grow and learn together. Children at Sproutlings are challenged and motivated to learn with daily opportunities to discover the world around them and share the arts classrooms with materials and equipment carefully selected to encourage their natural curiosity and desire to learn from their surroundings. And whereas Sproutlings has been serving New Providence, New Jersey since 2015 and was founded by longtime residents of New Providence, the Shahid family. Mo Shahid, former teacher along with his daughter Mira, and for over 30 years experience in child care with over 20 years of those directly in the classroom. And Jonathan, their son, who served as high school teacher while in the Peace Corps in Liberia. And whereas since opening, the Shahids and the wonderful staff of 40 employees, many from New Providence and surrounding areas, have proudly provided care for over 1,000 local families. Many of their students began as infants and stay with them through their aftercare program at the local elementary school levels. And whereas Sproutlings has expanded its offerings through partnerships with local businesses, including aftercare collaborations with the Jersey Aquatics, and now with Summit Speech School. Some enrichment activities Sproutlings provides for its students include swimming lessons through Jersey Aquatics, gymnastics, lessons to Windico gymnastics, and toddler music through Elefante Music. And whereas Sproutlings is also a member, an active member, of the New Providence business community. Moshe Heath is a founding member and president of the Adult Soccer Club, and Jonathan previously coached soccer at the high school, and he was one of my Cub Scouts at one time.
And he's a Bucknell graduate.
Sproutlings soccer scholarships to graduated seniors at MPHS, fundraisers throughout the year to support local organizations, as well as Moms Helping Moms and St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Now therefore, I, Alan Morgan, Mayor of the Borough of New Providence, County of Union, State of New Jersey, hereby honor Sproutlings for its 10th anniversary and congratulate them for making a difference in the New Providence community.
We just wanted to offer a heartfelt thank you to, sorry. A heartfelt thank you to the Borough Council, Mayor Morgan, our wonderful teachers, and our wonderful town. It was 25 years ago I was here receiving a proclamation from Mayor Al Morgan. For our
Telling me I'm old.
I'm saying I'm old. But it has been an absolute pleasure serving the New Providence community and watching kids grow, and now getting to see my children grow up in town is a really special thing. So thank you, and we'll see you around the block.
Well, thank you. As you know, child care and early education is so very important in life now. So what you do is amazing, and I'm in awe of what you do. And it's good to see kids grow. See?
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you
so much. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I remember hearing the application at the planning board, and I can't believe that was 10 years ago. That's amazing.
Time flies.
Great job. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
I can't believe how hot it is in here.
I think it's perfect.
We didn't pay the bill?
It's rooming it tonight. Where we go today?
Okay, at this time we have a presentation of the Sustainability Committee. Doug or John?
Good evening. My name is John Kane. I'm on the Sustainability Committee. And I have a presentation here for us for the Sustainability Committee. The New Providence Sustainability Committee is requesting support for a 6-month pilot with green bucket compost.
Can you talk into the mic?
You might need to bring it closer to you. There you go.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mike.
Our TVs were working, now they're not either.
I can hold these up.
Give it a minute.
We'll wait.
You're experiencing technical difficulties.
These damn
It's the TVs or-
It was on.
It's like the TVs are on.
No, they were on.
Yeah.
I can push it to turn it off.
Oh, wait.
It's asleep, maybe. There you go. Should it sleep? Yeah, hit.
Want me to hit?
That's good. There we go. Do you need to go to the other side, though? Got it, okay. You were too efficient, you did it too early. They went to sleep. Cost cutting. Things go to sleep until you need them, then they turn on.
My son's phone does it he does it 30 seconds, it drives me crazy.
This one.
That's my favorite TV.
That?
Yep.
Okay. So next slide, please. So the New Providence Sustainability Committee is requesting support for a 6-month pilot program with green bucket compost. You can see on the slide up there, the reason we chose green bucket is because it's the most economical. It's the easiest to use for residents and the borough. We're looking for the borough support for the 6-month program. The idea is consistent with the borough's Go Green theme, and there is no cost to the borough. We looked at six facilities or 6 firms that we could deal with, 4 of which we couldn't deal with. They are not in our area. Java Compost has been here in the past, but we also looked at Green Bucket, and I put down at the bottom the 4 that we couldn't use. If you need to know where they are, I can tell you. But they're mostly in South Jersey. Each proposal was evaluated by structure, cost, and sustainability. On the following slide, we looked at how we used EPA's guidance to assess the sustainability benefits of each proposal. And if you look, you can see that there are 2 things that happen with the compost. One, that Green Bucket does is they turn it into to energy, into biogas, whereas Java transforms it into organic fertilizer. So we also, by doing this, we eliminate, or partially eliminate, CO2 gas. The next slide indicates our involvement over the years with the students. So Suki Grover was involved with this project 4 years ago. She since graduated from New Providence and went on to the University of Penn and graduated there this year. 2 years ago, Evan Peldunas joined us on the Sustainability Committee, and he's been instrumental in working with us. This year, Matteo Agasta worked with us, but he worked with the students along with Evan for a a program to generate or to determine interest in the borough, he worked with Leah Bromley, who was the head of honors science, but she has since left. So their beginning got a little bit waylaid towards the end, I think because of her commitments. The results on the next page, you can see that over 75% of the respondents expressed interest in central deposit location. We chose not to do that for a variety of reasons, but you'll see later. 58% of the respondents said they would pay for home pickup. The survey, the results, and the questionnaire are in the appendix in the back. The approaches we used was the central drop-off point was the first one, and there we looked at several places. Minister Gunn at St. Andrews was willing to allow us to use his property, St. Andrews property. Should we choose that method, Summit also uses this method, and I put in the notes that they estimate that they have diverted 23 tons of compost as a result of doing it that way. We chose residential pickup for a couple of reasons. It's more convenient, it's simple, and right now in Java does about 11 households as a result of Suki's work, and we think we can do much better on that. The proposal on the next slide is only just to show you where things go. So it starts either at Green Bucket or at Java, and it goes through a processing unit, still all in New Jersey if you notice. So, why compost? Compost decreases the refuse stream, as we saw, that Summit has a big piece. It reduces the cost of tipping fees for, in this case, New Providence, lowers the carbon footprint, cuts methane emissions, and fits into the borough's theme of Go Green. And there's no cost to the borough. So the next slide is the comparison slide. And you can see that Green Bucket is by far more economical than Java. We have been in contact with, or I have with Olivia from Green Bucket for over a year working on this. And in this scenario, we can do better in cost depending on how well we do in this. So, but that's why our recommendation is Green Bucket. The following slide is what you can use. If you look at both of them, you can see that they're similar in what they will take, which is remarkable from looking at this several years ago where they wouldn't take meat, they wouldn't take some other things, but now they do. How does it work? So you get a bucket. I have one in the car, just saying. You fill it with the scraps from the acceptable list, put out the bucket either once or twice a week, and Green Bucket comes by, picks up the bucket, gives you a new liner for that, and that repeats depending on what program that you decide to sign up for. Green Bucket is in the following residential locations. That Netherwood is Plainfield, for those that are looking. First looked at it, I said, Netherwood, where? So they're all involved in this. How are we going to do this? So we are going to target the following places with the help of our students and with the help of the borough, messaging this. So the cost will be in kind, and we think it's very doable and very good for the borough. So, any questions?
Is it just like a 5-pound bucket, like a 5-gallon bucket?
5-gallon bucket. I mean, you can get multiple buckets should you choose.
Okay. And you leave them outside or you leave them inside?
Your choice. I mean, I put mine in the garage just because I don't think I would want it outside. It's small enough, you know. I don't think you're going to need a 64-gallon toter. So it's small enough you can just tuck it in the garage. It's fine.
Does the liner prevent smells or decrease the
The
smells?
top prevents smells. It seals very tightly, so you can't smell it once the top's on.
I just want to comment that I've been on sustainability committee with you for 3 years. I think Kathleen before that, Matt and I, Diane. As long as I've been part of this, you guys have tried very, very hard to get anything relating to composting. as you mentioned, Suki, all the research she did, the students, the high school students that we have working with us now. Sometimes they go rogue, but that's besides the point. But I think we've gotten to a really good place where we're ready to launch this pilot. So I'm fully supporting the effort. I know how much work you and Doug and others on the committee put into it. So I think this is a good start to see, because we're going to actually find out whether people want to compost or not before taking a central location.
That's the idea.
Speaking of whether people want to do it, so you said you did a survey. How many responses did you get, and how was that? Like, what was that?
The survey was done by the students, and it was done towards the end of the school year, the result of which, and as Alex alluded to, they needed to be wordsmithed a little better than their survey indicated. So it fell off because it was late in the year. I also think, and this is my own opinion, that Mrs. Bromley may have been distracted because she's now at another district. So I think it fell off in the last month, but we had 31 respondents.
And were they all from the high school, or they were student respondents?
All 10 from, no. The respondents were residents in the borough. There were 10 students that worked on this project, though.
I believe it went out in the weekly folders, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So like,
So it was
Just to-
weekly folders through the school
Through the high school.
district.
So it's basically
Residents, but only school
parents.
district.
So parents of school children.
right. So what you're asking basically is our approval or the borough's approval to get on board with promoting residents to compost at home.
Yes, but, I mean, the sustainability is under the auspices of the borough, so we could go out and do it, we can't do
I'm
this.
just trying to make sure I understand the ask,
Yes,
and
yes.
and again, it's just,
It's
if
a
someone's
pilot.
interested in composting, we'll have the information for them. They can sign up for it through whatever means you have in terms of the green bucket.
Correct.
Okay.
So one more question. So you need 50 households for Green Bucket to?
No, the pricing that I put in there is pricing for today.
Okay. So, no, my question is there a minimum number of households that you need in order for Green Bucket to come to New Providence?
Well, they're already coming here, but
Oh, okay.
because I'm a member, I mean, they pick up already. The pricing was an incentive pricing. We fully expect to be far in excess of 50. And at that point, I'm negotiating now for a lower price than what was quoted in here, because I anticipate that it would be substantially more. It's not going to be less.
So the only thing I'd mention, John, is once we get pricing, I think we have to get Jim Testa involved.
Yeah.
Once we get past a certain point.
Right.
What do you mean?
Well, on behalf of the borough, you have to go out to bid.
No, we would come back to you.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea is that we would come back
We
and
can't just
report
select,
anyway.
Sustainability Committee can't just select a vendor. We just have to go through the formal process, so
Right.
what John has done already.
Right.
So what happens after the 6 months?
We do an evaluation.
You know, why don't we do this? Because we're going to be putting out RFQs, right? Why don't we do that, add that in there, and give it a 6-month try, and see what goes. If there's a lot of participation, that's great. If there's not, then, you know, we'll reassess everything and see if there's any, have you had any problem with animal control?
No, because they're in.
Well, that's the big thing, because that's what the Board of Health was talking about.
Now, I spoke
years
to the,
ago.
I spoke to the Board of Health in Westfield, Miguel Vasquez. And Westfield, as you saw in there, is a participant in this program. So when I went through the program with him, he said, yeah, we're fine. Because there's a top on that, so there's not a problem with animals getting in there. And my best example is my sister in the Thousand Islands, who had a porcupine try to get in her same bucket, could not get in, so.
Yeah, I just know kids, you know, trying to put the garbage can lid down all the way, but I think we try it for 6 months.
Actually, just one more question. Can you just confirm there's no cost to the borough?
There's no cost to the borough.
Yeah, residents sign up
And
on their own.
who do
This
the
is a resident program.
Who do the residents pay? Do they pay directly?
They pay Green Bucket directly.
Okay,
They
so
don't- The
it's
borough's not involved in
none
this
of
at
that.
all.
And that includes all the marketing, such as the publications and the sustainability publication and education brochure? Who pays for that?
TBD at this point.
So that is a possible cost of the borough.
Don't know, TBD.
It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
There should be,
Stuff from.
Except from the place, you would
from
think,
the
right?
place,
Yeah.
you know, how it works, so.
I'm just going to add that I'm currently one of the 11 customers for Java Compost. The 5-gallon bucket lid is, as John said, super tight. It's just down the steps in my basement. That's where you put I have something on the counter that I collect the scraps in during, until that's full. And then I take that bag and I put it down in the 5-gallon bucket. And it really, I was surprised that there's essentially no odor. I mean, if you're going to open the bucket after a few days, yeah. But keep it shut. And then I only put it out when they come to pick it up. I put it out on my front walk and they come and take it right on.
So you keep it inside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I keep mine in the garage.
yeah, and there really isn't any odor. So anyway, I'm a big fan. Our garbage that we have to take to the curb is
Minimus,
much
yeah.
less than it was before. So that's helpful too.
I think, Kathleen, the only difference between Java and this green bucket is you could, from Java, you can get the compost back, or you can, for the soil.
That's correct.
You can sign up for that plan. I don't do
Okay.
that, but the other thing is, it sounds like,
You can buy it from Green Bucket, but
Okay.
they don't make it a part of their program.
Gotcha.
yeah, I think that I bought the bags that I can use on my countertop from Java. I don't know if Green Bucket offers those kinds of things for sale, but anyway, it is very convenient to have something in your kitchen to collect all that stuff, and they're available elsewhere as well.
Well, I
so.
guess we'll get that information about how that works.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, then, all right.
Thank you, John.
Okay. I would only put in a plug for Free Cycle on September 14th.
Time?
Mark your calendar.
Forward to it.
Thank
time?
you.
Yep.
10 o'clock?
please.
10? What time?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Thank you, John.
Yep.
Okay, Andy, Marie, you're up. The reason I have Andy and Marie here, they're our town engineers, and I know a lot of people had questions about storms and flooding and what has been done, because it's come across like we haven't been doing anything over the years. And I wanted you to give a report to explain to everybody what has been done in previous years and how many years ago we started all this.
No problem, Mayor. Thank you very much. Mayor and Council, thank you for having me. My name is Andy Hippolyte.
Marie Ruffey?
Marie actually serves as your borough engineer. I used to, but you guys took my picture off the wall, and now it's her, so
There's a good reason for that.
thanks for that. Just for a baseline, I just think a map is a little important, so we brought a map over there. That's a map of the Borough of New Providence. The bottom line, the blue line, is the Passaic River, so that's your border. It's really to the north, but north is facing down. The yellow lines that go around kind of in a box, that's the borders of New Providence. To the left of that map is Summit, above you is part of Summit, Berkeley Heights, and to the right is Berkeley Heights. Across the stream is Chatham. The other lines on there, the blue line at the bottom, against Passaic River, the purple lines are Salt Brook. They are all FEMA map streams. Off of those, there are more streams and ditches that you know about that cover, and the kind of the important part of showing that is you're the bottom of the hill. The Passaic River is the bottom. Everything comes through you to get to the Passaic River, which eventually starts to head and goes down towards the Atlantic Ocean, obviously. If you just do a little map search on New Providence, about 24% of all your structures in town fall in areas that are subject to flooding. It's a very high number because you have so many streams and you have so many waterways. Another little fact about New Providence, which is a fact about all of New Jersey, when you have a waterway that's mapped, like the Salt Brook or the Passaic River, you have no jurisdiction over it. So what you can do with it is very little. FEMA and/or the DEP controls it. So if you want to do something to it, you're controlled by the state of New Jersey, and then you're controlled potentially by FEMA. The other thing I'll say is your map waterways have even more restrictions of wetlands and flood hazard areas that the DEP controls on those also. And there's a little known kind of New Jersey fact, though it's known, but we don't like it. I don't like it myself. And that is, In New Jersey, whatever was built here way before I was even alive, and now it's built. The state of New Jersey and the DEP says that if you want to make a drainage improvement, so we go on to projects, which we'll talk about, make a drainage improvement, we have to prove that the improvement does not increase the downstream water surface elevation more than 0.1 foot, or the upstream more than 1.1 foot. So
It's called a heck analysis.
right, I know.
Yeah.
So in my heyday when I was a little kid as an engineer getting out of NJIT, I was a hydraulics and hydrology engineer. I wanted to be in the cube, kind of covered, and don't bother me. I've obviously come a long way since then, but when you do that analysis, you have to prove to the state you're not changing. So for instance, when the Division Avenue Bridge was done by the county, when the South Street Bridge was done by the county, working with everybody, had to prove that they were not going to change the flooding upstream to downstream. Didn't matter what the flooding is, it is what it is. You can't change it. So whatever town we work in, whatever town I've worked in, wherever I've been, everybody's always like, just put it in a big pipe and send it out to the Passaic River and let it go. You're not allowed to do that. You could ask for it. You can't do it. The state will never give you a permit to do it. It's not applicable to anything. And the reason being is, let's say everybody in the Passaic River Basin sent their water downstream, said, we're going to get it out of town. We're going to put it in this big ditch. We're going to put this big pipe in and send it downtown. I wouldn't want to be Pequannock or Pompton Plains, because they're at the end. If you go to Pompton Plains or Pequannock, you think you have flooding here, go look at their flooding, and they know this restriction. So if you tried to do it, they'd be the first one objecting at DEP and going, we ain't taking any more water.
Yeah.
So when we talk about projects and what you've done in New Providence and how you've approached it, you need to understand the baseline that even though it's somewhat defeating, no, it's not. You have a little control, but you have very little. The control you have is you can keep your water moving, but you can't increase the flow. So could you store it in town? You could. Your ordinances allow that to be done, and we'll talk a little about that. So I'll get into a little bit of like background past that. So our borough is 3.71 square miles, 3.69 is land. So you have 0.02 its water. The Salt Brook has 3 branches. The one on the right is the west branch. The one kind of in the center, this one here along South Street is the central branch. Everything else is considered each branch. The east branch goes all the way up into Summit. They're all mapped by FEMA, so FEMA's mapped those so they know what they are. All those purple lines and the blue lines all have flood zones associated with them. If you pull up the FEMA maps, you'll see that a large portion of your downtown is in a flood zone. You can't change that. A large portion of South Street, parts of Maple, parts of Central, they're all in flood zones. You can't change that. You can't move that water any faster. You can't move any less. Those zones can't change. They're restricted by DEP and by FEMA. So just a little basis of what New Providence has done. Some of this is before I got here, some of it's after. So in 1975, a mayor and council that none of you were here passed the first stormwater ordinance ever in this town to try to control stormwater, at least try to give some measure over it. And you've built on it over the years. In 2006, you passed a new stormwater ordinance or modified it to say, you know, the one in 75 wasn't good enough. We're going to start controlling all development. So anybody who builds in town has to meet a standard of not letting any more water off their site than before they built. Didn't matter whether it's woods to pavement, you have to make the difference up in storage on site. In 2021, you made it even harder here. In 2024, the DEP, who ultimately has the control, said to New Providence and everybody else, most towns were well behind you, they had not done this, that's not good enough. So now when you build, you have to reduce the runoff from your site. So for instance, if I have a wooded property and I turned it into all pavement, I had to ensure that the runoff off-site is less than what it was from woods. So that has all over town, whether you're a residential property, like when Matt built, I made him put 4 seepage pits in, and he still holds me to that today. When you do that, you're holding on your property and sending it back into the ground. So now you are very restrictive. You not only passed the storm ordinance in 2024, you passed an illicit connection ordinance to keep it out of your sanitary sewer, and you passed a tree ordinance to protect trees. Just that little bit I mentioned there puts you ahead of almost all the towns that surround you. Puts you ahead of most of the towns in the state of New Jersey. You've done more than most towns do because it has a burden on your residents and on your businesses, but you've done it anyway. You've had multiple projects since I've been here. The ones before me, I don't know. Brookside Drive, over by the Saltbrook School, you did a complete stream cleaning of that, you did lining of that, you improved flow, that stream had less flow. Again, not increasing or decreasing it upstream or downstream, but bringing it back to its regular channel. In 2014, we did Pine Way, Ashwood Road, and Brook Hollow Lane. They were streams that were completely encumbered by trees and debris. You went in because you were allowed to take that back out and bring it back to its original condition. You improved flow to the Passaic River and portions of the Salt Brook, and you allowed monies to flow. And those projects were grant projects. You didn't pay for them. You paid for some of it, but most of it was grant projects. In 2017, you did the Grove Terrace and Clearwater Dam overflow diversion. So what most people don't know is if you come across Division through the Divisionary Bridge, go past the old Ping Wang property where you took the greenhouses down to increase floodplain storage area, you go around past the field, you go around past the JCP&L substation, and then you have to get under the tracks and go towards Maple Street. That can only hold so much water. It's an old crossing. It's way before anybody in this room was in this town. We're stuck with that opening. Somebody way before me decided that opening is not enough. It's flooding everything. You then have a Clearwater Dam there. Most people go, what is the Clearwater Dam? Bernadette, Marie, and I know because you have a dam safety permit for a dam that never holds any water.
Right.
That entire area is made to dam up 10 feet high, across Grove Field, all the way to Ping Wang property. The whole railroad tracks, you could have a big dam. So if the skies opened up and you had this storm we don't ever want to talk about, a massive dam would form there. Part of that was this other project, which we improved the overflow for both the dam and this area going to the tracks. It now goes another couple hundred feet down through a meandering stream. We redid the channel with gabion baskets, and we redid the trash rack to catch debris before it went under, because there's another spot that goes under the stream, and it gives you 2 locations across Maple Street. In 2024, we did the Maple Street project. Obviously not a solution, not an end-all solution because the stream backs up, but that helps get water and lower storm events to the stream, which is kind of downhill just of the railroad tracks. You also have, since I've been here, I've had a mandate mayor, as you know, we talked when I first came here, all capital projects, which is when we do a reconstruction that has curb and paving, and all NJDOT projects need whatever upgrade we can to improve drainage in those streets, and that's more to improve localized drainage. And we've done that since 2006, and that's over 20 roads. DPW, by mayor and council direction, inspects and cleans every inlet every year. Does that mean we walk out of here and find an inlet that's clogged? We could, because they get clogged. So if somebody in this room sees a clogged inlet, tell DPW right away. They'll clean it out within 48 hours. But if you think about it, there's a few thousand inlets. So they inspect every one each year and at least check them once a year. You're way ahead of your towns around you. On top of that, we work with them and we inspect all the outfalls. So you have a couple hundred outfalls in town. We go inspect the outfalls as per required by DEP to make sure they're free and clear of debris and make sure they're not having erosion and scour that's going to then clog up downstream things. So you're keeping your water moving. You're also in compliance with your Tier A permit, which is your DEP permit, who governs everything we're talking about. Whether we like it or not, they govern it. Okay, so significant rain events. That's where we'll get to. What happened? Andy, I don't necessarily care about everything you just said in those 3 pages. I got a rain event. So here they are, and we can talk about them in no order. Date order doesn't matter. September 21, Hurricane Ida. 7.43 inches of rain. July of 2025, we just had it, 5.5 inches of rain. So that was 3/4 of Hurricane Ida, that storm, as odd as that storm may seem. August 2024, 4.9 inches of rain. May of 2019, this one surprised me because I didn't actually know it. In that month of May in 2019, you had 8.69 inches of rain. It's the most rain you ever had in 1 month. The only time you had more rain than that was this one, which is 2011. Hurricane Irene was about 10 inches of rain here, which I was here then. If you were here in Hurricane Irene, this municipality was destroyed. There was debris everywhere. It was destroyed. At that time, we worked with Jim Johnson. DPW did an amazing job getting streets open back then, just like they did in the last storm. But that was probably the most rain I think you've seen since I've been here. In 2025, as we stand here today, this number kind of took me by surprise. Through July, this town has seen over 31 inches of rain. Does anybody know your average rainfall for the year, history?
Only about 15.
29 inches. So you have 5 months left in the year. You have hurricane season to come, and you're already over your annual rainfall. So this year could become your wettest year ever. Now, I can't control rain. You can't control rain. We can't control climate changes. We can't. There's nothing we can do. The only thing you could do, knowing that data, is to keep your water moving and keep doing things that you've been doing. The other thing I will say on this data, just as a baseline, a 100-year storm in this area is about 8 inches of rain an hour, or 8 inches of rain in 24 hours. And I hear from multiple folks, a lot of you call me, Andy, we only had 5 inches of rain. That's not 8 in 24 hours. That's not a 100-year storm. That's not exactly how it works. So it does, when you get to the media and get to NJ.com, they talk about 100-year storms, but when you get to a geeky hydraulics guy like myself, it doesn't work that way. So the way it works is, that's a good baseline. Then some guy like me has to get in the room with a HEC 1 or HEC 2 program or a rational method program and say, what was the volume of rain? That would be your inches. And then what was the intensity? So your August storm was 5, they say, there's no gauge in New Providence, you had 5.5 inches of rain or 5.55 inches of rain in 2 hours. You might have had a little more up on South Street, a little less on Union, a little more on Division. When you have the Deerfield flume overflowing at that rate, that's well exceeding a 100-year storm. That's so far beyond it. That's a design that was done way before me. Obviously, I wasn't even an engineer when that happened. That was designed to take a 100-year storm plus. So that area saw well in excess of a 100-year storm. And you, from a borough perspective, you're now talking about what we'll call acts of God issues. So it's very difficult to deal with.
Andy, can I stop you real quick? I just
Go.
want to make sure we clarify this real quick because I know this is going to be a question. You said there's nothing you can do, and then you said climate change and whatnot. And I just want to make sure and clarify that what you mean by is from an engineering perspective, there's nothing that you can do about climate.
As an engineer, there's nothing I can do about climate. So the first thing.
So in other words, like somebody planting more trees and doing other things in relation to climate change is not what you're talking about. I just want to make sure that we're clear on that because.
So I'm not a weather guy, but I'm also engineers. We don't learn about things like planting trees that affect climate. Maybe that could.
I don't want to get into an argument.
Yeah, maybe that could be.
Maybe that could
have. Maybe that could have effect or not. I'm not here to debate that.
Yeah,
What I will say is, weather's unpredictable.
Right. Okay.
We don't know how much is going to fall or not fall.
Okay.
Literally 10 miles away from here where I live, when you guys got flooded in that storm in July, I got this much rain. 10 miles away, 0. So it's very unpredictable. Again, with the baseline, you can't do anything to improve your situation unless the DEP says it's okay. And their restrictions are really stringent. Because you may want to move the water out of that map, the next downstream town doesn't want it. And the state doesn't allow you to do it. So all you can do responsibly is keep it moving, and everything I'm mentioning here in your projects, that's what you've been doing, keeping it moving.
Can I ask you, how do you quantify how you're not affecting downstream?
I could do that. That's my next thing.
Okay, good. Because I know we talked about sediment and things of that nature, right? That kind of grow over time, that could affect the flow. But how do you quantify, like what you just said earlier about getting back to your original, right? Like you got to get back to your original. You can't make it worse or more. So I'm just in my mind, I'm trying to wrap my head around. I'm an accountant. I'm not an engineer. Like how do I quantify? How we don't affect downstream anymore by doing something?
So if you take New Providence landmass, 3.69 square miles, that gives you 103 million square feet, 103 million square feet of land area. If I took the 8 inches of rain of the 100-year storm and put it over that area, and again, it's intensity and volume, so it could actually be worse. This number is conservative. Actually, storms are actually more than that. If you put it over that area and convert it to gallons, 100-year storm is 514 million gallons of water. So you're like, okay, I don't know what that is. So in my head, myself, I was like, I don't know what that is. How big is MetLife Stadium?
That's what I was thinking.
MetLife Stadium
First
is
thing came to my head.
778 million gallons of water. So 100-year storm will fill 60% or 65% of MetLife Stadium. I don't know about you, I've been there many times. That's a really big space. So storing that, I'm not saying it's impossible, but by having an ordinance that makes everybody who develops store it on their property, you're chopping into that number. What you're never going to be able to control, and this is unfortunate, is what comes from here in Berkeley Heights, and what comes from here in Chatham, and what comes down the Passaic River from the likes of Mendham where it starts to here that backs you up.
Yeah.
So what happens is, when the Passaic River gets tons of rain upstream from Mendham down to here, and backs it up, your water has nowhere to go. You can't get out, you're stuck. Hurricane Irene was perfect example of that. It backed up, so everything in town flooded because it had nowhere to go. The August storm, it had plenty of places to go, but it was too much for the pipes and culverts and stuff that exist, and you can't make them any bigger.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to. You already store your water in your properties. Now, you're not going to go to properties who are not developing and say, oh, hi, Andy, I know you developed prior to our regulations. We want you to put storage in your property. You can't even do that as a government, that I know of. You can't. Well, I'm wrong. Everybody else since 2006 has put stormwater drains in their property. Matt, you're my example, because you and I, when you were a resident, we argued about it. And we had a discussion. He's like, I don't think this is right. I'm like, well, so why should you send more water to the neighbor next door? And you can't. So you've done it. The DEP didn't pass this rule until 2024. You did this in 2006. It was like cutting edge back then. People around you, because I rep other towns here, were like, they're crazy. They're crazy. They're going to do that. Nobody's going to require that. Nobody's ever going to comply with that. And you've been complying with it for all that time. So it's actually been successful. So from a volume perspective, the numbers are daunting. But if you deal with it one development at a time, it's not as daunting. The thing you can't deal with is the intensity and volume of that 100-year or more storm. A lot of those storms I mentioned, just because they're, Hurricane Irene, it was 7.7 something inches. That was well over a 100-year storm, because that intensity took it up into the 200, 300, 400-year storm. The other question I get from a lot of people is, Andy, a 100-year storm is supposed to be once in every 100 years. That is not what it means. So what it means is some, I'm not making fun of you, you asked me a question, some accounting or bean counter said, let's do a probability on this. Not what engineers do. We just listen to what they tell us. It means that the probability is you're going to get a 100-year storm once in every 100 years. They're finding out that that's probably happening more frequent. Nobody's changed it yet. The DEP has made some changes to the storm ordinance, which we adjust for intensity and volume now. So your new ordinance is now in line with that. So your restrictiveness in 06 is now even more restrictive with the amendment. So now going forward, everything's going to be more restrictive. And that's a positive. It's not a negative.
I think what you brought up that was 3.9 or 7 square miles. But most of the water that we get comes from up top from Berkeley Heights, up to the top of the mountain, and from Summit down along the back of Springfield Avenue there, where it goes into the Ping Wang area and Grove Terrace. And we get it from Berkeley Heights from the other way, too.
Correct.
So
Your
from,
area drain to you is twice as big as the area.
Murray Hill Farms and all up there, so,
Correct.
that 3.7 isn't exactly accurate, so the problem with this last storm, it hung at the top of the mountain and went down into Scotch Plains, down to Route 22. We all saw the damage it did there. And we were actually on the fringe. I mean, Berkeley Heights got a lot worse than we did.
So the Berkeley Heights that got a lot more, it goes the other way, so it actually goes away from you, goes more towards the Raritan River. But still, they still sent a lot of water your
And
way.
Chatham got basically nothing.
Nothing. Chatham got nothing.
Right.
Chatham no flooding.
Andy, just a quick question. So you mentioned maintenance is probably our best approach. Some ordinances is a good approach. Any projects you're aware of downstream of us where they tried to widen the river or try to do anything?
No, because they can't.
They
They're
can't.
Not, they're not allowed to.
No.
No. So when they did the River Road Bridge by
Yeah.
the Shell station,
Right.
they went through the same effort. 0.1 foot upstream, 0.1 foot downstream. They can't change it. It was the exact same elevation. I mean, you have to fix that bottom of that beam elevation. And you have to model the hydraulic, well, I'm not getting too detailed now, the hydraulic grade line coming across the bridge to see how high it jumps up and make sure it doesn't jump up downstream and flood somebody. You can't, the effort to do it, I always tell folks, if you want to hire a hydraulics guy to do a HEC 1 study for you, I'll do it for you to show you that you can't change it. And you're going to pay a lot of money to do it because it's a really expensive model. It's 1,000 feet upstream and 1,000 feet downstream. That's how you have to create the
Any
model.
consortiums where towns get together downstream and try to, any kind of major
So there was
projects?
one, and we were involved in it. Roselle Park and Cranford, I guess, the Cedar Brook, I don't know, downstream Cranford. So there was a 10-year federal project there about 20 years ago. And what they did was the Cedar Brook had filled in. All the bridges were substandard crossing it. And first, downstream did it first, then upstream did it second, then Roselle did it third. And they brought the stream back to original condition and brought the FEMA max back to where they were because the stream had filled in. The sides banks filled in, the bottom filled in. They fixed all the bridges. The section in Roselle, which we were involved in, was $10 million. When we came on board, the plans were half done by another consultant, and he had been working on them for 10 years. We got on it, and by the time the DEP issued a permit to bring it back to original condition, it was 8 years later. So the design process for approval took 18 years. And if it wasn't for political pressure, the project would have been killed by DEP, because the DEP felt at that time that the environment and the salamanders and the turtles were more important than the flooding in Roselle. The houses shouldn't be there. And political pressure got them to change their mind and say you can bring it back to original condition. And it's done, and it has helped limit the flooding back to what the flood maps say today. So the maps are good. It was a good project, but it's painful.
Well, they tried the Greenbrook project too, years and years ago after Hurricane Floyd. They said they weren't gonna build anything on the north side of 22. You look at it now,
It's all developed.
it's all overdeveloped. And I think that's half the problem, is all this overdevelopment, this high-density housing that they're shoving down our throat isn't helping anything here. It's horrible.
Correct.
And, you know, I don't know where it ends. I really don't. And one thing I will say, Congressman Kane was out a year and a half ago. Was it 2 years ago?
2022.
And Bernadette and I walked around with them, and it was a project of 4 towns, Long Hill, Berkeley Heights, New Providence, and Summit, to dredge out the Snake River, to snag it, I would say, more. Well, it went all the way to the final, and the previous Congress to this one knocked it down. So, I mean, we tried. And I gotta say, the congressman tried too. He kept on top of it. It just was knocked out of the budget.
Right, you have a, and this may be too much of it, please stop me. As an engineer, especially as a hydraulics guy, back when I got out of school in 1990, they were proposing a project in the Passaic River back then.
Yeah.
They've proposed it 3 times since then, and what everybody's found every time they model it is they're going to spend now what amounts to more than $1 trillion, and don't fall off your chair, to increase and improve for a 2-year storm.
Yeah.
That's hard to justify. $1 trillion for a 2-year storm. Why is that? Because our environmental groups, DEP, EPA, will not let them make the stream wider and send more water because name the animal, name the tree, name the insect, you're going to destroy them and you can't do it. Not for me to argue, that's what happens. So now you got this battle of flooding meeting environment and the state has to control. Again, I don't want to tell you what to do. You have no control. It's an agency in Trenton that and ultimately has an agency in Washington. They have the control. In New Jersey, it's the DEP. And they let you do very little.
Andy, can I ask a question? When you say that nothing can be done to affect the current water management system because we don't own it, but other people have been able to restore it to its original condition?
You're allowed to bring it to its original condition.
You're allowed to bring it to its original condition. Where is the original condition documented? Like, how do you know what the original condition was?
So in New Providence, you're luckier than some other communities. Your streams are mapped.
Our
So
streams are mapped.
They're mapped. The federal government's mapped them, FEMA's mapped them. You have cross-sections, you have elevations on them. You also have 25% or so that are concrete lined. So the concrete line ones are the channel. So that's the channel, that's the original condition. when you look upstream of the concrete line channels, you can see your bottoms. Your bottoms are actually where they should be. So they've been pretty good. The little estuary ditches that run off at that Orange Salt Brook, they require permits to clean. You can't clean them. It's hard to determine original condition, but they're just going to move a little more water to the Salt Brook if you clean them. Not saying you shouldn't clean them, it's just there's a lot of them. But your bottoms of stream are good. Where you get stuck is your banks start to grow with trees, and that's something you can do. But we have this other agency in DEP called the Wetlands Group. Their opinion is you can't touch anything there. So when you go down the DEP and submit an application and go, we want to clear the banks of our streams because they've encumbered, they go, that's really good. We know flood hazard says you can do it. We're not so sure. We need to review that permit. And I very rarely ever get that permit, and the cost to get it is very expensive. And they have no time frame. Wetlands is a whole different group because they make you look at things like threatened and endangered species and the distance of the top of bank to homes and whatever is there. So it becomes a very big negotiating process, and it's very expensive.
So, Andy, the maintenance we're doing, I'm sure you're going to recommend some other things we might be able to do.
Yep.
So I'm curious.
Yeah,
to hear.
So my next thing is what we can't do and what we can do. So just a couple things what we can't do first. We can't increase the water surface elevation downstream. So we can't actually just send all our water somewhere else. You can't dredge your streams without a permit. That's what you're talking about. But your problem's not the bottom of the stream, it's the banks. And you need a permit for that. Not sure if we can get it or not. It's an arduous process, very expensive, and does have an effect on the surrounding homes. And you have to remove the material. So the material can't stay there. So it's got to go, and 99% of that material goes out as impacted materials because of runoff from streets and roads. It has contaminants in it. You can't create large detention structures. Let's say we wanted to store MetLife Stadium. We wanted to store MetLife Stadium here. One, I'm not sure we have anywhere to do that, have hundred millions of gallons of water. But number two, if you're going to do it, you're going to be destroying significant amounts of environmentally impacted areas. And you have to go to the DEP, first flood hazard, then wetlands, and then the wildlife folks, and they're going to go, wait a second, what you name it, it's there. They're not going to let you just wholesale do it. It would be a massive individual permit, which you'd probably go through a process and never get it. You can't change the Passaic River. There's nothing you can do about it. I know it's frustrating. I know it backs up water in your town. You can't change it. So when that floods, you're flooded no matter what happens. It comes right back up. There are things you can do. So keep the water moving. I told Al this when I came here back in 2006. Al pulled me in his office upstairs and said, here's the way it goes, kid, because I was younger then. I need you to do two things, you'll be successful here. When I give you a road project, get it done. And on those road projects, make sure you put in drains to keep the water moving. And that's what we've been doing all this time to keep it moving. In addition to keeping it moving, you could go into a stream, which you already do. Your DPW does it. DPW does it. They've been doing it since 2014. You see a down tree, you take it down. Now, you don't have enough DPW guys to walk the streams every day, every week. That's what you have residents for. They live there. If they see a down tree blocking the stream, call the DPW. They'll take it down. You have a process where you take the tree out and remove it. You've done it since 2014. The other things you can do is keep your outfalls free of debris and keep them open. Every year they're inspected. Whenever we find a problem, they're cleaned. If somebody has one that we haven't got to or one that's gotten clogged interim, let us know. DPW will clean it out right away. The other thing you do is continue to enforce your stormwater regulations, which Marie's part of it, your boards are a part of it, your building department's a part of it, your DPW is a part of it. Since 2006, you've been reducing runoff from New Providence, and you've done a great job of it. You've cut somewhere into that, 500 million gallons of water I talked about. Everything helps. It all helps, and the best way to approach it without exuding literally tens of millions of dollars from this mayor and council is to do it on a case-by-case basis. So if somebody comes and builds behind board, that development that, I would say I'm not fond of it, but whatever, it doesn't matter what I think, there's a big detention system there. That's reducing the runoff from that site. So whatever you saw at Bard before, there is now less water coming off that site. Expensive, costs money. The people that come in and buy the units pay for that cost, but you're doing it with every little house, you're doing it with everything. So those are the things that you can do to help yourself.
In fact, DEP actually had them reduce the size of the footprint of that project.
Correct.
Because of the wetlands.
Because of the
Because
wetlands.
of I think it was like a reed grass or something that all of a sudden was on the endangered species list.
They, of course, didn't reduce the number of units, unfortunately, but it did reduce the number of bedrooms, which was
Yeah.
positive for the borough, but
Right, so you asked me to come here and kind of summing it up. This borough, since, I've been here since 2006, and we met, you gave a mandate to make this better, and you've made it better every year. You've spent millions of dollars to do this. In addition to that, you spent $1 million in your sanitary sewer, which is a whole other discussion, but that does play into this because those two systems are on top of each other. And you continue to do it. You've passed all these ordinances to make it harder. You've done more than your communities around you. You're doing everything you can do that the state of New Jersey is allowing you to do. You can never do more than they allow you to unless somebody above us, and that'd be governor or higher, changes those regulations. And there is no indication that's going to happen. Only indication is that's going to get worse. So that's all I have. If you have questions.
so he mentioned me a few times because I did have a project, I don't know, 16, 17 years ago. But, you know, and at the time I didn't know any better, right? I just wanted to do my project, and I didn't care about what happened with my neighbor, right? Again, I didn't know. I was a young homeowner. And I didn't like you at all.
Believe me, I remember.
And I had to spend a lot of money in engineering and architects and planning and all that stuff. And honestly, you know, my project came out amazing. My yard's amazing. My neighbors are very happy with how that worked. And I know you could sit here and talk about this. You know, this is the same enthusiasm that Andy had when I met him for the first time, and this is how he talked when I was trying to get my project done, and I was getting upset because he's literally probably one of the most intelligent engineers I've ever met in my life.
One of them. And hydraulics and hydrology. I love how you do.
Electric voltage.
That's not me.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
I don't think they mix.
Yeah. But he's very passionate about, you know, his work, obviously, and you know, he knows his stuff. So I really do appreciate you taking the time of your day to come here. And it's funny, you know, now I was thinking about this. I actually was cleaning my driveway the other day, and I just was watering the dirt and the dust, whatever, and I got it to the street, and I was like, and then I went in, I was like, wait a minute. You know, that's all going to go into the sewer system. So I went back out, I swept it up, and to be honest, it was like 2 dustpans full of of debris, right? Like just dust and dirt and whatever that is what is happening to every single driveway, right? Every rainstorm, all that stuff gets, you know, washed away. So I would encourage, you know, little things like that. Like I'll never let that sit in the street again. I'm going to sweep it up and make sure I don't let it go into the sewer system.
Landscapers out there that blow all the grass and debris into the storm system.
Yeah. And I walk my dog 3 times a day, and I'm constantly kicking leaves off of the grates, you know, to make sure that, you know, they're not clogged when it rains. And I encourage people to do that, you know, just little things like that. I did a quick question. You said 24% of the borough is subject to flooding.
24% of borough structures are subject to flooding.
Subject to flooding. Not in a flood zone, but subject to flooding.
A lot of them are in flood zones, some of them are next to them, because we have tributaries that come off flood zones that are not mapped. So they're all subject to flooding. Once the Salt Brook backs up, they back up.
Right.
So they're subject to flooding.
So someone subject to flooding might not necessarily, and I don't know if you know this, but may not necessarily need a flood insurance, but someone in a flood zone would.
You can still get it, though.
Right. Right.
And if I'm again, in my little dorky world of engineering, I'm a certified floodplain manager because I love the hydraulic side. If you're in next to a stream or in New Providence next to an area that has a ditch, I would highly advise you to get the flood insurance outside the flood zone, Zone X insurance. It's cheap. It covers you. You're covered from any water coming from that stream, not from the sky, from the stream.
Right.
It's a good idea.
Marie, why don't you sit down?
You're a bad foot. You're a bad foot.
You're on a boot.
I think, Andy, and I appreciate the presentation and better understanding of the streams and what our limitations are, but I think for a lot of people in the audience, the frustrating part is, you know, what can they do? The street backs up. Obviously, it's because the river's too high. There's nowhere for the water to go. And you mentioned case-by-case basis. So I know you both know this town inside and out. Any potential locations you think we need to hit and start investigating sooner than later?
It goes back to the basics of take your unchannelized version of Saltbrook, the ones that are not concrete lined, but the concrete line ones you can look at too if they have debris in them, and follow that purple line, start there, and make sure it's free and clear. And I would tell you, my suggestion would be the budget, Bernadette and I talked about this, I'd budget some money every year to be a little more proactive instead of reactive. Right now, you look at it once in a while, but it's a lot of reactive. We have people call in and they say, I have a tree down, we go take it out. You can budget money to be more proactive. The difficult part, again, you look at that map, right? So let's just hypothetically say, and this is like the smaller version of the town down the street. If I clean all this and clean it really darn good, everybody down here is getting more flooding.
Yeah, right.
If I clean all this and clean this all the way down to the OLP bridge, it's just gonna back up there anyway and back right up there anyway. So you have to balance your act. You don't wanna just clear something upstream that floods somebody downstream. And the state doesn't allow you to do it anyway, but you have existing streams that you can keep clear and keep them flowing. What I recommend is being a little more proactive with budgeted monies for it. Thank you.
Okay.
Andy, I have a question. I know you said, you know, the DEP, the state keeps knocking out the project to desnag Passaic River. You also said that it was a lot of money for very small impact, right? How often is that looked at? Because, I mean, we see trees across the Passaic, we see stuff, and, you know, it seems like it should be a concern, but
Never.
It's
The state of New Jersey does nothing with the Passaic River.
And you know what's funny? You look at the map. Union County ends at the stream bank. The river is totally in Morris County.
Right. But Morris County has no jurisdiction over
Yeah,
it.
they don't
You
care,
can't touch it.
and
You
they
can't
could
touch
care
it.
less because all along their river is all a bunch of wetlands.
Yeah.
So that just fills up, they don't care.
What happens with the Passaic River and streams of that magnitude, it always falls on the municipality or county that has that bridge that all the debris hits.
Yeah.
Right, so once it hits that bridge and backs up, that county or municipalities go in there and clean it out and let it keep going.
Right.
That's what happens. That's,
Gotcha.
to date, goes back to eternity, the state of New Jersey has this plan to take care of streams.
Right.
They never have, they have no plans of doing it, they're all reactive, I don't know why. It's our value and resource in our homes and our businesses if we do it, but they don't. I don't want to.
Okay, any other questions up here? You know what? Let me open this to the public, and only about an engineering question for Andy. I don't want to go into anything else. Does anybody have a question? Yes, ma'am. Come on up and give your name and address.
I am not a natural speaker, so I apologize, and I can't believe I'm doing this. It's not me. My name is Josephine Sharp.
Josephine, I have the microphone
Oh,
closer to you.
I live on I'm Josephine
Just bring it
Sharp.
closer to
You
you.
can just move it.
Okay. I live on Woodcrest Drive.
Okay, yeah.
I appreciate your presentation. I know the town has done a lot of stuff. I've lived here 4 years, something like that. And I think that it would be great, it's great that you explained all this, but sometimes, like, I would love to know how I can talk to you about my situation and things that the town has done that maybe have impacted my street, and that there's no one, like, we don't know who to talk to. And so, right, so I would love contact information before I leave here. My whole block was gonna come, but this meeting was, schools are starting, colleges and all that, vacations and all that. Because we feel like this great project was done on our block and on Maple Street that we were all so very excited about. And I will tell you that I don't care about the big storms. I know that there's not much you could do when it's an Ida or something like that. I care about the regular storms that now we get water that we didn't used to get before you guys did a project. So maybe there's some tweak that could be done so that we don't get water every day. I just had backhoe guy back. I spent tens of thousands of dollars years ago so that I would not have water. I have never had water. I didn't even get water for Sandy. I'm getting water in like a pond in my backyard every time it rains. And it's been ever since Woodcrest Drive had those storm sewers. And I think it's because all the water from behind me is now going into the storm sewers, so my water can't go there anymore. There's no room in the storm sewers anymore. I think that, I mean, I don't know, you're an engineer, I'm
Probably
not. But can you
not,
talk
but-
to me
yeah, no,
and
so
come
we
to the
can-
block? Yeah,
we'll give you a
because,
sharp mark.
yes, because we were great, like, and, you know, and we were so, when we saw the storm sewers, I remember coming out and talking, saying, thank you, this is so
Well, I
great.
was out there with you cleaning out the sister.
Yeah, I
pipes.
called you, right? Yeah, because we were, I called and he cleaned out the, under the train where it goes. And you remember me. So, but I'm telling you that Woodcrest Drive has gotten worse since those storm sewers came in. And I think it's because,
One may have no effect on the other. I would
right,
love
but
to
it's,
come out- I
but
would love to come out and see it.
right, it's
Okay.
just happened from that. And we just want to see what we could do because it's,
Okay.
yeah, it used to be the Johnson House that only got, you know, everyone knows the Johnson House, right? The one right on the train. But now it's spreading, and we just want to stop it before it continues. Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Hi, good to see you all in person. Put a face to the name. Very good to meet you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for preparing this. I just want to state for the record, Kate Gallick, 31 West 3rd Street, off Livingston, not near the river, not near a waterway. I'm here tonight in the spirit of collaboration, partnership. How can we help each other? How can we be the eyes and ears for DPW? Appreciate the efforts in the past month. This is not for political gain or an attack. It's from this moment forward on the record, how can we be a team? From an engineering perspective, because I follow the rules, again, like I said, not in a waterway, not near the Passaic, off Livingston. I am experiencing 8,000 gallons of water standing still in my backyard for 5+ hours on a regular summer storm. Not an Ida, not an Irene, on a regular, I could probably make your list probably 3 to 5 hits longer. What I'm understanding based on the DPW work is that there's significant blockage potentially in what goes around my house and pushes out to wherever it needs to go. But from an engineering perspective, what I want to understand, we've put $50,000 into mitigation on our property so that when it comes in, it's easier to get it out. But are you saying basically that DPW and the drain maintenance and all of that for someone where we are is our main line of defense for potentially getting the water back to what I heard it was before I moved in 6 years ago, potentially?
So we go back before you moved in, because I know about that situation. So between 3rd and 4th Street, there's a line that runs between the homes, and then eventually goes to the salt brook.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping that line free of debris
Mhm.
is your first line of defense.
Right.
So that's a DPW issue. If you see blockages, you should call them. I don't know how often they check it, but they know you check the inlets, but I'm not sure of the pipe. Once the salt brook backs up, you got no line of defense. It's gonna back right up that line, just like it does all the other.
Like that's what I'm hearing, based on where it's all coming from. Engineering perspective, if I were to put in sewer pumps that can pump out 6,000 gallons of water in an hour, would that at least, can I do that? Because that's keeping the water moving. Can it handle it where it needs to go? No, okay.
No, that's a big question. So pumping out that much water with those pumps, that system probably exceeds the cost of your home. So that's a very big system. Saying that, if you did, you're sending it there, it's already flooded, so it's still gonna keep backing up. So it's like pumping uphill.
Right.
If you pumped uphill, it's
Yeah,
come back.
well, that's what I'm dealing with to your point, homeowners do renovation, they have to put in a big something, but my something has nowhere to go.
Right.
So we're all on the same page about where we are. Okay.
You know, the 4 homes between 3rd Street and 4th Street, I mean,
Yeah.
going back to like 2006, 2007,
Yeah,
there was problems then, because remember, 11, we had Irene, and that area got just
Yes.
decimated where you are.
yeah.
And there was just nowhere for the water.
Yeah, and so what I would just like to really plead, I'm going to be emotional, and I'm really not an emotional person, to the Borough Council, is to protect people who don't know that they're coming into this risk. Because I didn't know that when I spent $580,000 on my house, and I have watched my little girl's stuff float away for 6 years. And I'm out $93,000, and I'm stuck because my property value, I don't know what it is. We need to protect people, and I know we can't slap flood zones, and I don't want you to slap a flood zone. Then you're really, I don't even know what that would look like. That's where I get out of my educational abilities. But I'm pleading with you, there has to be a way to protect potential buyers, young families that are coming in who know they're in a flood zone, but didn't know they were going to be, their floorboards were going to be floating down the river. We have to do something to protect potential buyers. And if that doesn't tell you that I'm here for so much more than myself, I don't know what else will.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Actually, the state law says the real estate owners and the homeowners have to tell you this stuff.
And they didn't. No one told me.
So,
I know, and
I
that's
mean,
why it's not an attack, but no one's going to tell. I know for a fact that people are taking water all the time, and they're going to lie when they sell their house. I can't because I've blasted it all over social media at this point.
So
But
if you, and we can talk offline about
yes,
this.
I don't want to
If you're,
derail.
there's a term in floodplain management called repetitive loss.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a repetitive loss for flooding, the state has a program called Blue Acres.
Yeah, I know
which we
Blue
can help you
Acres.
with.
Yeah.
And Blue Acres pays you the full value of your home, not the full value of
To
the
leave.
home. They buy it. And
I know,
the
and I don't want to leave.
And the home has to be taken.
You should
the
see my
has to
home.
be-
Alex saw it. We've
No,
done
no, no,
amazing
no.
efforts to mitigate it on our side. But I needed to hear that because I need to know that that's where we are, unfortunately. And please, let's protect it doesn't matter if you're young or you're old, but people need to know the risk. We have to figure something out. I'm a comms PR person for Big Pharma and Tech, and I'll help you do it. Thank you.
Thank you. I know that we had that pipe camera, right, Bernadette?
We did.
Yeah, okay. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Molly Gribben. I live at 123 Woodland Road. Similar concerns. We moved here 4 years ago, and we are in a flood zone. We knew the inherent risk in buying in a flood zone, but what happened on July 14th was not the usual flooding you think you're going to experience. We saw our kids lost all their toys, both cars. It was horrible. I'm not going to read this whole thing that I typed up anyway, and I'll keep it simple. So we are at the bottom of Deerfield. My question is, what is going to, right, thank you, it's been cleaned out. We see the trucks up there, we're grateful for that. But moving forward, is once a year enough to clean it out and check on it, or can we do that more? Because I want to live here, I want to raise my kids here, but I can't have that happen
Well,
to
I
my
know
house again.
DPW, because I live right up the street
Yes,
from the
I know,
Bonner
you give
corner.
great candy bars on Halloween.
Yeah, yeah, I'm noted for that. But, yeah, I saw your house. It's just horrible. The fence, everything. And the
That's-
outflow pipe though is behind her house. And I guess the builder put in the swale back there when they made that whole development. It goes right from the flume through Peter's house,
Yes.
unfortunately, and down through Mike Berry's house there in between, and goes down that swale.
Yeah.
And I know the water that comes down there. I mean, I get water from Greenwood, coming down Greenwood and right down into my house. So I know what you're talking about. How many truckloads of silt did they pull out of there? I mean, it was like 30 trucks. I mean, huge amount. We've taken trees.
Yes,
And I
but
want everybody to know that we've already spent almost $500,000 on remediation up there on Deerfield and the flume and all that. So we're on it. But the other thing I want to say is that, and I think I told you, Peter, that, we're trying to get FEMA funds so you can personally put in a claim. As of right now, I talked to my governor's rep. He got back to me and he said the governor hasn't done it yet.
I'll call.
I talked to Senator Bramnick. He's going to have the governor's chief of staff call me tomorrow morning. Governor Kane, or Congressman Kane, was up at the site, and he's doing whatever he can do. But this isn't a congressional thing. This is from the state of New Jersey. The governor's the only one that can do this. Is to ask Washington. So we'll see where it goes. But we're pushing the buttons. And if I'm doing it, Berkeley Heights is probably doing it. I know Plainfield, Scotch Plains, all those. And Congressman Pallone and Congresswoman MacGyver, they should be like Tom Kane going over and telling the governor, you got to do this. So we know what's going on. It's just, gotta get some action.
But
Because-
to your point, it might not be enough to do it once.
Right.
Right.
We have to evaluate that, and as Andy said, the maintenance goes a long way, so.
But we'll get to it. This has been going on since Andy, when I hired Andy, what, 2004 or whatever.
Cleaned multiple times.
Yeah, and I said, get the water moving, get the streets paved. So,
Thank you.
sure. Yes,
Hi, I'm Nikki Witchendall. I'm on Crest Road. My question is more engineering related. So when we moved in 21, 22 years ago, there was a culvert built. I'm on the Crest Grant border line. Maple's right behind me. And they built a culvert. Apparently worked great because they got flooded prior to that. Worked great for 18 years. Didn't have a thing. And then all of a sudden, we had the rains you talked about prior to that, we didn't get anything. Then up to 4 years ago, we got it in September, 4 years ago, whenever that was, then in August of last year, and then again this year. Why is there such a change all of a sudden between getting the heavy rains before? We never had a problem. We didn't have a drop of anything. Now we're walking arm in arm out of my house. The water's pushing us so bad that we had to be like rescued. So,
Right, so the culvert that's there, I mean, we can come look at it, but the culvert that's there can only handle so much water, right?
Understood.
So once you get past that, it can't handle it, it's gonna back
yeah,
up.
I understand that.
I mean, this is not a great answer. Literally, as a freshman in college in engineering school, one of the first things they told us in hydraulics was, as an engineer, understand one thing, you can't predict rain. The weatherman can tell you they think what's gonna happen, but it's unpredictable. There's no, weather really is unpredictable.
I get that part.
So
18 years I had nothing.
I know.
Then the
What, you
last
haven't
4
had
years,
rain?
nothing,
That's crazy.
nothing. So nothing in
Maybe
Sandy,
something,
nothing.
is there
you
something?
know what it is, Andy? It's the rate that it came down. It just can't handle.
We had rates prior to that were worse, and we didn't get water. We're getting water now, so I don't know
We can
what's
come look at
happened
it.
by
Take-
the
take
train
our car,
station, I
take our-
don't
Let's
know.
come look at it. I mean,
Okay.
it's.
'Cause that's
We've
the
hired an
culvert that I
engineer.
have.
Maybe something
Thank
is,
you.
maybe something, I don't know, let's look at it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll give you a call.
That's the culvert where they had the one pipe, and
that bumps up to me.
I had that, excuse me,
Yeah,
and
same thing.
we had two sister pipes put on each side to handle more of the flow, because it used to back up really bad.
And it worked.
Anything, so,
Yeah.
We can throw a camera in there and see.
Yeah.
Turn around.
All right, thank
we'll
you.
see. Thank you.
I know Andy's been giving out his card, but the action line is also a real good way to get to him, so
It's the best way.
it is the
It's
best way.
actually- like Alex said, communication-wise, then it's actually documented. And the town can
And we
follow
can
up.
get back to you. Bernadette sees it every day, and she can get to Andy and get to you. Yes. Yeah.
Great. Hi, my name is Jackie Stango. I
Come to
live at 36 Second Street. We flood. I back up to the creek. My backyard is Green Acres, so I maintain it all. I make sure it's cut, the trees are taken care of. I make sure of everything. Now, my question is to you, is that which way does the piping come out into the creek from the street? Is it on a 45-degree angle, or does it just shoot straight out? Because of course, that's how it's gonna back up, if it just shoots out straight.
I don't know, I have to look at Second Street, I don't know. You know, pipe, concrete pipe, is concrete pipe is straight?
So, for instance, if my husband's a sprinkler fitter, so he's gone back there, he's seen the piping through the hole of where all the water shoots out from the street.
Okay.
He said it goes straight out instead of going on a 45 to go with the flow, so we could pull the water when the stream goes, but apparently it doesn't, so.
You know, it's a good thing to look at, I can definitely look at that. So we can go look at that.
Yep, so I know all week long, there's been a gazillion people all over my lawn checking it, looking at all the drainage, and honestly, all the drainage has been cleared, everything. We've never had drainage issues, but thank God, my insurance, the way I made sure I had endorsements under backup a sewer and backup a sump pump. So that's the only way I was taken care of this year.
And it runs, I'm assuming it runs probably right down the side of your house.
Correct. So basically with you guys also building the 2 townhouses, $1 million townhouses, and you're putting that drainage underneath, I've noticed the change. I have concrete rapids coming down my house from the new 2 townhouses. So now I have water all 3. I don't get water in my house from the creek. I get it from the front where the street backs up. So apparently something's not jiving there. That's like where it mainly comes in from.
I can look at it. Let me say the aerial. Yeah, it looks like it goes straight down your property line because that's the area between properties and hits the.
Correct. So there's something there that's, I don't want to say it's clogging, but definitely, I don't know if the pipe size is not the right size or something, but I think that's something that we need to look at.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Connor Carlton, I live on Charmwood Road, so similar question to her.
Which Charnwood?
My
Charmwood, yeah, by Jim Madden.
The new
Yeah.
Charnwood.
It's
called the high numbers. Not
Yes,
low.
yes, yes, yes. So I know my next door neighbor is Joe Muglia. I know you've probably dealt with him a bit in the past. And this seems to be more of a more recent issue. Now, we've always had flooding, always had issues. It is what it is. I understand that you can't really desnag the river. It's a bit of a frustration. I know Joe's written to you. He's told me that we want to, Joe and I have agreed, and I know he's told you, that we're fine with you increasing the size of the pipe. I don't know from an engineering standpoint, all the water gets to the river at some point, flying down Runnymede and Gordon, and it goes through our property as well as through the storm drain that goes through the property. Is there an issue with increasing the size of the pipe?
Well, you'd have to rip up the street and everything else. It's
just the back, like the backyard in between, because all of the drainage comes down from Gordon. All the storm drains lead into the singular storm drain at the base of Charmwood Road. Because every time it floods, or my rate is if it's over an inch an hour, I need to stay home. My mom can't go out. My sister's a resident. She's going to be a doctor. I need to stay home to, I guess, protect the house. No one else in my block really gives a shit. My French. Joe's too old. I have to stay out there at that storm drain, removing the 3 leaves that pile up. Our 263 Charmwood Road. There's 4 storm drains on Gordon and Charmwood. They all have the protective grates. Joe mentioned that the DPW tried to come around and put a grate on the main mouth, and he said if you put it on, I'm just going to rip it off. Thank God there is no grate there, because that is the central area that everything diffuses back into the river. I have to keep that essentially clear to allow the water from the storm surge to push into the river.
And the grade's to the left side of your driveway.
Correct. It's in between my house and Joe's house.
Does the exit pipe, is that below the river line or above?
Sorry?
The exit where it enters the river, are you above the river line when the river gets so high?
It's not. We don't really have a river issue because
You don't?
we're. Yeah, the river's I don't know, the full backyard and then maybe a little bit more, and it goes down, I don't know, 2-3 feet.
Yeah,
It's really just from the.
It's not that high.
That inlet on the curb.
So it's a
line
volume.
is
Volume.
backing
It's
up,
volume.
it's going down, eventually goes around down your driveway.
It'll all just build up. It'll go into the garage. It'll go into the front of the house. Nothing happens on the right
That's an
side.
area we may be able to make an improvement to either add another inlet and take away your pain of having to clean that inlet off. Keep the grid out. Yeah, let's look, that's something we could look at as a project.
Because either that pipe would need to be bigger, or if there could be.
Or more volume, get it, you might not be able, those inlets can only take so much water, so it's
Yeah.
better getting in there. If we can create a situation to get in there, or the fail not being your driveway, that would take your problem. This is one we will look at.
Can I be-
Yeah, sure. Remember, use the hotline, or it's the.
Action line.
That's okay, now you have the card.
Thank you.
Danny.
Yeah, Alan, go ahead.
Alan Swanson, Overhill Road. I had a Passaic River question. And you talked about one of the first lines of defense being removing debris. do we know, I mean, the Passaic goes a long way, goes borders between Morris and Essex County, goes up to Patterson and what have you. Do we know that downstream, the efforts to maintain a clear path and that the debris is regularly cleaned out so that, I mean, I know it's a slow-moving river, but if there was a debris problem, because one of the main issues with flooding is, of course, when the debris comes up to the bridges and then it creates dams. But I'm just wondering if is there any
Yeah, so
state,
again, this is
county
This is
efforts?
a state issue. The state of New Jersey takes zero governance over it, even though it's their waterway. They've never done anything. They don't clear anything. If the bridges get clogged up, they rely on the counties and municipalities. The only thing that's done downstream, because we do rep some of those communities, is they are very much into the Blue Acres program. They're buying hundreds of homes to create area for the areas to flood, and they raise the homes or take them down, so the areas flood because they have the complaints you get down there.
Yeah, no, total Lincoln Park.
Yeah, they're buying hundreds of homes and taking them down because there's nothing they can do. Again, other than money for Blue Acres, the state provides no benefit. They do not help at all. So we can't help the states help, they never have help.
I'm just wondering if we talk about, you've mentioned about regional issues in the past with regard to these kinds of issues, and I'm just wondering if there isn't a possibility in terms of advocacy to create some kind of a debris commission,
Well,
for the
we tried
Passaic
doing
River.
it with 4 towns.
I'm sorry?
We tried doing it with 4 towns, and they knocked it down. The only one that doesn't have to report to the DEP are the Army Corps of Engineers. And I was told by the guy, the rep. And they weren't giving them funding to do anything, so we tried the regional thing. The state won't let you go in there, so that's where we're at, Alan.
The one other thing, a lot of talk of individuals talking about the culverts near their houses and what have you. I'm wondering if, from the town standpoint, if it wouldn't be helpful to those residents to provide some kind of a professional service that would come out and answer some of their questions, particularly those people that are in the floodplain areas and things, that what can they do on their property and what's the potential in their property? I mean, I understand that, when you get a storm like we had.
It might not be obvious, we already have that, right? So if somebody's in a floodplain, or they're in a flooding area, we're certified floodplain managers. So we're your certified floodplain manager, state. It's not a required program, but again, it's something you've done years ago that most towns don't do. We can help talk you through the FEMA system, or help talk you through what you can or can't do. And just from an engineering perspective, we can tell you what you can or can't do around a stream or a pond or a ditch or whatever. Just have to call us. Put it on the hotline, somebody will come out. Marie gets these calls all the time.
Okay.
So these people that are talking
can all
about
call.
specific issues, they could contact
You're
you.
welcome. This mayor and council welcomes that.
What we want people to do is go on the website, get on the action line, and have it sent on the website so we can coordinate with our engineering company. Nobody should be calling the engineer himself. Just get in touch with the borough on the action line, and we'll coordinate with the engineers.
And the borough's done this process
For
for
years.
20 years. We go out and people call us all the time, we give them advice, we try to help them if we can. If they tell us there's a situation, let's take the Charnwood situation. Just looking at it, I think there may be a solution. We'll look at it, if there's a solution, we'll present it to the mayor and council and go, here's our project for you. But if I don't know about it, again, if we don't know, we can't help.
Is there perhaps a publicized, I live up in Tall Oaks. It's
Okay,
probably
yeah,
about the highest house in New Providence, so it's not an issue for me, but is there, can that be sort of publicized to be sure that people know?
We just gave the process, okay?
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mulligan back there.
Keep it quick. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and
How
Council.
are you?
Very good, thank you, and thank you for the good presentation today. Just, I'll start with a question, if you wouldn't mind.
I need your name.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dan Mulligan. I live at 20 Woodruff Court, it's off Livingston, would be numbered 7th Street if they kept to the number scheme, right? But the question would be, you mentioned before about the new development and how they are basically net positive as far as the water flow. How are they doing that?
Underground.
Underground. So
Unless they put in above ground basin.
they keep containment underground.
They can do either, you can do
So-
above ground or
Dry
underground.
wells.
On 6th Street, about 5 years ago, 4 new homes were built, ones I will never, ever be able to afford. God bless them that can. But these homes are built 4 feet or so higher than the previous homes, and it impacts the water flow, the drainage, from storms. So we've seen a real negative effect since those homes have been put into place. I'm guessing they don't have any containment that nets them positive, right? Because
I know they were, I don't know.
They would, yeah.
I think they would.
Which house, they have, which,
There were,
We're in Woodruff Court off Livingston, and there's 6th Street.
8th Street, where the 4 new homes were.
got it. Yeah, they'll have them.
Yeah, they do, right?
6th Street?
6th was the new street, but 7th would be us, Woodruff, and 8th I know also gets flooded. So we're all impacted, and I know, the council, my experience with them is not great, but tonight not long, I should say, but everybody seems very bright here. Obviously, my pitch would be
Don't ruin my image.
any new, homes or that are built. We had one home that burnt to the ground in our
right.
cul-de-sac. I hope that they will be a net positive effect on the water.
Yeah, any new building like that, they're gonna have to, do that. That's state law too.
It
Now,
is.
It is.
We were for
I
one.
want to make sure that this idea is understood real well. So let's say there's an existing home that burned down. That existing home had a certain footprint, had a certain driving footprint. And let's just say that house in a 100-year storm, just think of a solo cup of water that came off it. If the new development proposes all the same impervious area, no change, they don't have to put anything on the site. They're allowed to discharge that water because they always discharge it. If in fact they're a major development, which means they'll take like 4 homes built at once, they get deemed a major.
Yeah.
Now they have to reduce, even if they had that solo cup, they have to actually reduce it to an amount less than that, which is so much to the 2 to 10 in the 100-year storm.
So is it within the borough's, providence to, make restrictions that for any new home, singular or burnt down home, become net neutral or net positive on a water flow example? Is that something that the council can do?
Anything is possible. The burden to the injured homeowner is tough because something was there. If it's now a woods and there's no home there,
Yeah,
there's gonna be a
it's a
big
different
mess,
story.
big mess. It's when there's an existing home, you rip it down. And again, I'm not the counselor, how much burden do you want to give those homeowners when their house burned
Yeah.
down, now they're putting in, I'm gonna use Matt again, I apologize, Matt. 4 seepage pits on a piece of property is 20, 30 grand. It's not like they're spending $500 to do it, so
I
that new
understand,
home.
but there's a lot of transition of homes too, and people, taking them down to the studs and rebuilding and
Anything they add new, they have to store 100% of that.
well,
So
maybe it
one-
should be 105%, right?
So 1 for 1, you're allowed to keep doing what you did before.
Correct.
But anything more above that, you have to put it in.
Greater than 300 square feet.
An increase of 300 square feet.
And I think it's duly noted, we absolutely should look into that, for sure. But there are other things, correct me if I'm wrong, that could also change, right? The location of the house, the location of the roofs,
Yes, things
right?
will
Like
go
all
down.
different things that could
Correct.
change actually whether the water goes downhill this way
Correct.
or downhill that way, depending on, there's a lot of different things that could have changed in relation to the impervious coverage not changing, right? So unfortunately, I'm not sure if there's things like that could be governed, but to your point, I think looking at the overall guidelines in terms of total impervious coverage and what we're doing now in terms of if someone's changing that.
Yeah,
can-
anything
The
new.
DEP regs that just got adopted are really restrictive. And that, nobody's really seen that impact yet. They're really restrictive. They're really putting a cost on new development and redevelopment this town, every town. The state did, it's state regulation, town mandate.
Yeah, and we, the obvious opposition to that is we all couldn't necessarily buy back into the town if everything got so expensive. But we got to protect our homes. I think you heard enough people here tonight that
Absolutely
it's,
understand.
and I did send you a letter today to the council and everyone about our specific situation, so I'd appreciate a response to that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for using the action line, Dan.
So.
Should have come here, would have helped you.
I'm sorry?
I was home today.
No, it's
Should've
okay, I
come here,
appreciate it.
would've helped you.
So I'm Peter Grosgold. I live on 39 Deerfield. So the Deerfield flume is in my backyard, goes under my driveway. We've been there for about 20 years. We're upstream from the Berries and the Gribbons and the Bodens and the Ottingers. And in 20 years, we've never seen the amount of water that we've seen recently. And in recently, it's within the past couple of years. So you mentioned the 2011 storm. That was supposed to be the big one. Flume didn't overflow, right? I agree. We've seen the flume overflow more in the past 4 or 5 years than I've seen since we've been here. I do want to say that the support that the town has provided and the accessibility and the action that I personally have seen is tremendous, and I wanted to thank you all for it. The work that's been done on the Deerfield flume, that you were talking about, you have to move the water, that's only part of it. The part of it that I really wanted you to talk about, if you can elaborate a little more on, is the benefit of the retention and having the water stay in one spot until the flow is slowed down, and then it can dissipate at a more reasonable rate. So to prevent the overflow of the flume, to prevent the flow downstream to our neighbors. We got 3.5 feet of water in my house. That's never happened, right? So the amount of work that's been going on in the past 2 weeks, spectacular. The flume and the retention basin behind my house is night and day from what it used to look like. So could you take a couple of minutes and talk to us, or at least explain to us, how that retention basin being excavated and having all of that soil removed, how do you expect that is going to affect future flooding in town?
I can. So the storage volume of that basin, we were up there today because it's
Looks
you're getting
great.
close. Yeah, they still have some more work they got to do, but they're getting there. I know when we look at that basin, we say, wow, it's going to store a lot of water. You know, it is, but not millions of gallons of water. That basin was made to do the following. A lot of water's come from uphill. When that water gets to a certain velocity, it starts bringing everything from rocks to trees to people's sheds, you name it, it's coming down. If you get to that basin, if you look at the end where it discharges and heads towards your house, there's a big trash rack and there's a wall. It's supposed to catch all the debris in that basin. So the basin is supposed to catch debris and then let the water go over with no debris in it. So when it gets to the flume by you with the trash rack, there'll be hardly any debris, and the 54-inch pipe and then whatever 30-inch pipe will take all the water.
Right.
In the last few storms, what has happened is the basin's gotten full of debris, or it's been encumbered by soil and debris. So now the full force of the water and debris is going, and that's hitting that outflow structure. As you saw, the trash rock, which is broken.
Oh, yeah.
Once that fails, it's going over. So the maintenance of that, I think Bernadette and I looked at today with Marie, that maintenance, bringing it back to its original condition is the solution. Now, I can't predict the next storm and the debris coming down. Once the debris fills that basin up, and it starts going downstream the debris, then you got a problem. I think the borough's commitment is they best get it back to where it was. They're fixing both trash racks. As long as the debris doesn't go to the borough.
That I appreciate, but so let's look at the last storm that we had on July 14th. Had the basin been excavated to the point where it is now, do you, in your professional opinion, believe that there would have been water that would have overflowed the flume?
I wasn't here that day. I've seen some videos of it. I don't know the flume behind your house. I don't know how much debris was or was not in that at the time it was going over. So I saw videos of it being wider than the flume, which makes me believe that the basin was already full and it was not contained inside the channel anymore. Once it's not contained. So if it was done like this, I believe it would have worked. I don't have any way of proving it with a calc other than see it happen.
And I'm just asking for your opinion,
I believe it would
because
work.
from what I've seen, and I'm an engineer, I'm not a hydro engineer, but from the amount of water that basin now appears to be able to hold, you know, I already now have PTSD every time it rains, and my neighbors are having the same exact thing, right? So can we have hope that the work, the hard work and the expensive work that's been done by the town to restore that basin to what the original design basis was in the 50s will give us a reason to be able to sleep better at night?
Yes, so we put it back to the original. Some of the trash racks still have to be fixed, but it's back to original. I don't have the design calcs for it, but I believe it was designed for a 100-year storm plus about 25% reserve. If a storm exceeds that number,
Understood.
It wasn't designed for that. So if it exceeds that, no. If it stays within that, it's gonna work. Definitely will work.
Okay, so we can hopefully sleep a little better knowing that that work has been done. And again, thank you for doing it so quickly and so efficiently.
Okay, looks good.
Yeah,
There's still more work to
that
be done.
flume was made in what, 73? Because we had a huge storm that wiped out all of Deerfield in the early 70s. I remember.
I met Rich, I spoke to him.
Because I had an English teacher that lived on Deerfield. I remember he was wild. So
Yeah, I think so. The flume came first. I don't know when. In the 70s, the basin with the other trash.
Yeah.
So the big basin was meant to catch a lot of debris that was clogging up the flume.
Right.
That's why that was kind of an interim fix.
okay.
And it's now in good
Thank
shape.
you.
There's work to be done there yet. So.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And again, thank you.
No, thank you, Peter.
Is there a calculation we could do to say that will fill up at so many, if we get so many inches per hour, that will fill up in X amount of time?
We can model it to certain.
I was just curious.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Liz Martin, 75 Ridgeview Avenue. I have a question about the action line, actually, since you keep promoting it. And I filled out a very detailed action line, sent pictures, and this was my response. When the river rises from large amounts of rain, the water from the river backs up stormwater pipes. And then it says ticket dismissed. Where does one go from there? So I've done what you have asked by filling out the action line. No one came to my house. No DPW guy came by. Who am I, right now what? I don't, right, but you keep saying, call who am I calling, right? Fill out the action line. The ticket says dismissed. That was pretty much the feeling I got, that it was dismissed. Like everybody else, I've seen the changes in the past 4 years where before we didn't have water, I live close on Ridgeview, close to the river, but the water's not coming from the river. The water's coming from the storm drain that the town is supposed to maintain and make sure that the water is flowing away from our homes. My husband is out there in waist deep water in a lightning storm clearing debris because we have these tiny little drains that the engineering part of it doesn't make sense. Like, you have to be able to let the leaves blow down, I guess, or something without clogging it all up to back it all up.
Well, I think the state mandates the size of the holes in the grates, right? And they don't want leaves and debris going in there because then it's going to clog up the pipe.
Right. Again, the entire state of New Jersey fights itself. The environmentalists want one thing, the engineers want another, the government and politicians want another. The state mandates that grate or that top curb piece, not letting garbage and debris in it, because if you let garbage and debris in it, it ends up in the Passaic River, it ends up in Newark Bay, and the Lake Ocean, all those things. But if you're in a known flooding area, you can come out. I didn't respond. That's not me, but we could come out and look at it. We could give you our cards. I know you guys don't want to do that. We'll come look at it. It's a known flooding area. We could take that cover off and let garbage go straight.
Right. But unless I came to this meeting tonight, my action line response, I feel, was inadequate for the situation that we're in. Like, we had water on our first floor.
The only thing I would say, and again, I don't control the action line. Remember, in the borough, you have engineering, you have DPW, you have staff in the borough hall. And I would just tell anybody, because I have an action line in my town where I live. If you get an action item and you don't feel resolved, you can just go and click again and say, I got your action item, can I see the engineers? And if you say that, then we'll come.
Okay, great. Then I will fill out another one.
Be
and pass.
vigilant, I should say, with the action.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of departments here. It's no excuse. I mean, we can be as efficient as we can, but, DPW has limited resources, only 14 DPW members. Engineering, you have to tell us right here. So just be a little vigilant. We're trying our hardest. We'll get to you.
Great.
Do you want a card?
I took a picture of your card in my row back here.
There you go.
That's great.
Anyone else?
Howdy, Brian Gardner, 25 Knollwood Drive. I was very lucky to not have direct flooding impact. I have two engineering questions for you. One is, we've talked a lot about the limitations of the flow rate, the runoff, the retention. Is there anything that the town could do either directly or through citizen advocacy to increase absorption throughout the town so that we don't have to have those downstream effects?
So we go back to earlier. So back in 2006, the borough passed an ordinance that said if you build this very commercial residential and you create new impervious area, you had to store that. And you store it underground. So that's sending now, since 2006, you've been putting all that water underground. So to go further in your question, if I look into it a little more, could the borough do more and say, if you put a new driveway in, it's gotta be gravel or something that's more absorbent? You could, you have to be careful because you have a town that is what it is today. And if you start backing into regulations that make people start removing impervious area, you might not get the result you want because the soils below New Providence are more of a clay type soil and a silt type soil than a sandy soil. So if you were down in North Carolina where my uncle lives, we can take the water and dump it right in the sand, it'll go away. If you're in New Providence, we've seen with situations like Matt's again, where he puts 4 seepage pits in because one won't handle it and the water goes down really slow. So you don't have good soils that are highly absorbent to take this water. So you might be putting a burden on people that's not gonna solve it. I don't think you get the result of that. So what I'd say is what you've done so far from 2006 forward is taking effect. It just takes a long time as it redevelops, it gets better. So you are changing the impact of groundwater significantly over a 20-year period. You have.
But even trees, ground cover, anything that like individual residents could do proactively, there's nothing that helps absorb.
It never hurts. It never hurts to have a tree, right? A weeping willow is a great tree to have. It's hard to climb up, right? You could put in trees that work, and everything makes a difference.
Okay.
So I would say if you can make a difference, like having more greenscape, do it. It's going to make a difference. It might just make a difference on your block, but it's going to make a difference.
Okay, very cool. Thank you. And then the second question is understanding the 24% issue and the long lead time on all the stuff that you're talking about, and pairing that with the increasing frequency of these storms. Are there things that we should be thinking about now, even if they have a 10 to 20 year lead time, because we know it's just going to keep getting worse, so that we should be starting now?
Other than to petition the state of New Jersey to come in and clean these streams. I mean, I think you've talked to your congressmen and senators, and the governor's been here, and unless they want to take a project on, your combined school and municipal budget is far below what it would cost to do these projects in clean streams. I mean, short runs of streams are tens of millions of dollars to do what you need to do to make them expensive. And then again, the state's probably not letting you do it anyway, because you're going to flood some downstream. So I would say contact your senator, your congresswoman, your assembly member, your governor, and say, listen, we need help like everybody community. I think that's the best thing you do.
Yeah, because I mean, I think, Mayor, you made a good point that a lot of good work has happened over the last 20 years. So what I'm curious about is what is that next 20 years worth of work? And even if it takes a decade to get a funding request through, better to start now than later, right?
I keep the water moving. So keep it moving by keeping your streams clean. So part of 25% of your salt work is a concrete line. You can't do that anymore. You're not allowed to do that. So you're not permitted. So we would love the concrete line at all, move faster. The state of New Jersey won't allow it. So that's why it doesn't go.
Yeah, because then you're just increasing the flow downstream.
It's velocity, it's everything. Yeah. So they just won't let you do it anymore. So I don't know what other ask you can make other than say to the governor, hey, can you get the Passaic River moving faster? If it's a really big storm, so we got a problem.
All right, thank you.
And we are, right? I mean, that's what we talked about. Those are the things that we have been doing, right? We have been engaging,
Okay, anyone else? Seeing no one? Andy, thank you. Marie, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming tonight. Because you answered questions that I certainly couldn't, so.
If you need anything else, let us know. We'll follow up on that. We'll go visit the people that have questions.
Yeah.
So we'll get back to you.
Sounds good.
All right,
Thanks.
Thank
you.
Okay.
You want questions? We'll just leave that?
You can leave it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to take a picture of that. That's pretty cool.
Okay, we have a second reading on ordinance 07. Please read the title.
Ordinance 2025-7 is an ordinance amending chapter 147 of the Code of the Borough of New Providence entitled Fees and Licenses.
Have a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, what this ordinance is increasing our fees for the licenses. Anybody wants to address this ordinance or this ordinance only? Please raise your hand. Seeing no one, I declare the public hearing closed. Roll call, please.
Ms. Owen?
Aye.
Ms. Belisca?
Aye.
Mrs. McKnight?
Yes.
Mrs. Jeffrey?
Yes.
Mr. Kogan?
Yes.
Aye.
Okay, need approval of minutes, July 15th, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
No, so be it. We have a lot of correspondence today. Okay, State of New Jersey, DEP, underground storage tank. It's taken care of. Rachel Wood, 1489 Springfield Avenue, regarding emergency management notifications during storms. Union County Utilities Authority, oh, I'm getting a cramp. Union County Utilities Authority solid waste tipping fees, effective July 2nd, types 1313C and 23 and 27 have gone up to $130.02 per ton. Actually, they really, over the years, they've been very, very, minimal. That was one of the best things we ever did. Okay, Township of Berkeley Heights, introduction of ordinance for affordable housing set aside. Chris Stee about requests for road closure communications. Joe McCarthy about a homeless person at the Murray Hill train station. Apparently they called 5 hours later and nobody was there. So if you see something like that, just call immediately and police officer will be there. Okay, county unions and office of the audit report and recommendations, Board of Adjustment, 18 Homes Oval, another one for 15 Woodland, and another one for 31 Primrose, another for 66 Salem. A lot of building going on. Keeps them busy. County Union, Human Services, paratransit system for the seniors. I know we're all over that. The Providence Board of Education, a special meeting on August 14th. Union County Emergency Home Repair for seniors. Anybody impacted by the storms and the seniors, the county will give you loans to work on your house. So, and Carrie Calandria about televised public meetings, which we did do. Okay. Any comments? Communications? Nothing? Okay. Let's go to council business. Kathleen?
Thank you, Mayor. The first item under administration is an authorization to solicit RFQs, which are requests for qualifications for professional services. The borough will review the qualification statements only from those individuals or firms that submit a qualification statement, which includes all the information required to be included as described in the sole discretion of the borough. The borough intends to select a person or firm that possesses the following: professional, financial, and administrative capabilities to provide the requested services, and agrees and meets to the terms and conditions determined by the borough to provide the greatest benefit to the taxpayers of New Providence. The second is Resolution 2025-210. This is a resolution approving requisition R2501714 for Fovionics Imaging Technologies in an amount not to exceed $10,000 for document microfilm scanning, ESCNJ Co-op number 65MCESCPCPS. That's approving the second phase of document file conversions, and it provides for the removal, scanning, cloud storage, and ultimately the destruction of the paper construction documents.
Okay. Affordable housing, Nadine.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2025-211 is a resolution authorizing agreement between the Borough of New Providence and CGP&H LLC for affordable housing administrative agent general services. So basically, this agreement brings on or continues CGP&H to act as our administrative agent for all issues relating to affordable housing, including applicant services, income certification, administrative agent resale fee, and the like. Basically, we are not to exceed $13,300, but that does not include unit for sale, which costs more. So in general, the maximum amount of the contract does not exceed $30,000.
Okay, Diane, community activities.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2025-212 is a resolution authorizing the application for the 2025 Kids Recreation Trust Fund Grant for the Borough of New Providence. We are seeking approval to apply for the 2025 Union County KRTF grant for various improvements, including Warner Park, soccer goals and lacrosse goals, Oakwood Park fence repair on the baseball fields, various parks, swings and chains, locks for equipment bins, etc., and additional equipment replacements. The matching funds for the award of this grant will be approved in the 2026 capital budget. We apply for this grant every single year. It just makes sense. We get between usually like $50,000 and $30,000 a year. If you remember, some of the things that we got $50,000 last year, $50,000 2 years ago for the pickleball courts, $35,000 for Lions Park playground. So we're very conservative with what we ask for, and look for exactly what we would need.
I mean, we've done a lot of work, right? And our parks and our
Mhm.
fields are some of the best in class, and it's nice to see now that we're just trying to maintain them and keep some new fresh equipment around. So that's good stuff.
Yeah, and if you guys remember, every year Allison in the spring goes around and checks all the parks. So there is a running list of exactly what needs to be done to keep it in tip-top shape, to increase the value of our fields, but also to keep our residents safe, the little kids. Okay, Resolution 2025-213 is a salary resolution. It's approving salaries for youth and adult programs, after-school supervisors, basketball officials, and senior instructors. Resolution 2025-214 is a resolution approving partial payment number 1 to Current Elevator Technology, Inc. in the amount of $85,000 for the project commonly known as Elizabeth Barabash Manor Elevator Replacement. So this is the first payment for bonding, insurance, engineering drawings, surveying, and equipment. So that's exciting that that's getting underway.
Is that part of our affordable?
I believe, Burnett, we got a grant for that. And so we got a grant, and it's also part of our affordable housing. So the elevator itself is not $85,000, it's only the first payment.
Okay. Engineer, no.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2025-215, resolution authorizing contract for municipal management software from Spatial Data Logic. This is an annual contract renewal in the amount of $26,900. Resolution 2025-216, this is the one that everybody was talking about today. Resolution of the Borough of New Providence authorizing emergency repairs and remediation to the Deerfield Road and surrounding areas as a result of the July 14th storm. So this is, we heard the gentleman say all Montana Construction doing storm restoration on Deerfield Road and the Deerfield Flume, which includes cleaning all down trees, shrubbery, posing, clogging, dangers, removal of debris from the trash racks, removal of accumulated rock, debris from waterways, sediment, etc. Woodland Builders, emergency replacement of the trash racks at the Flume, and Maple Street damaged by the storm as well. And then, of course, Collier's Engineering, just for the inspection of services for emergency work pertaining to that storm. Resolution 2025-217, this is a resolution approving the final payment to Northeast Roof Maintenance, Inc. in the amount of $60,532.50 for the project commonly known as the partial re-roofing of the Municipal Center and Memorial Library. All done with that, correct?
Okay, finance, Lisa.
Thank you, Mayor. We have Resolution 2025-218, resolution authorizing the payment of the attached bills payable list, amount of $20,138,155.07. Some of the significant items on this list, first up, Board of Ed, which is the August tax levy for $9,354,806. The depository trust, which is the payment of our bond anticipation note. This is principal in the amount of $9 million. We have Tilcon, New York, $485,367. That's annual road paving. Again, depository trust, another band payment. This is the band interest now, $382,499. Horizon Healthcare for our August healthcare payment, $147,496. The library got their appropriation for August of $104,957. The library roof repair, like we were saying, that went out to Northeast Roof Maintenance, $60,532, and our recycling for $33,418. Resolution 2025-219. This is a resolution authorizing the First Amendment to the contract with professional property appraisers for municipal-wide reval of all real property. What happened here was the contract was sent to the state of New Jersey, Division of Taxation, and the County of Union for review. They each had additions that needed to be added to ensure that the borough is meeting all statutory requirements per regulations before the director will sign off on it. Some of the significant items included here are standards for reval. The completion date is to not be later than November 1st of 2025, and then assessment notices will not be sent prior to November 10th of 2025. Under quality of principal and employee statement, what we're seeing here is that supervisors shall have 4 years of practical and extensive appraisal experience in the appraisal of the particular type of properties for which they are responsible. 2 years of this experience must be in the mass appraisal field and occurred within the past 5 years. So we want people that know what they're doing, obviously. Neighborhood map, the firm shall create a neighborhood map prepared for the municipal tax assessor that will indicate all neighborhoods and or the value control sectors in the municipality. And under taxpayer review procedures, sufficient time shall be allotted to hear and conclude reviews on or before December 15th. Resolution 2025-220 is a resolution certifying the 2024 annual audit. The governing body of each municipality must certify by resolution to the local finance board that all members have reviewed the comments and recommendations of the annual audit. I know that every member of council here was given a copy of the audit for review, so everybody take a look at that. Resolution 2025-221 is a resolution approving the corrective action plan required as part of the annual audit. The auditors did make 3 minor recommendations. I see that Jim Testa's here. He's already provided them with a corrective action plan. The 3 items were human resource related, nothing, significant or very impactful. Had to do with our the employee savings plan, or what we 403B or deferred, whatever they call it on the municipal side. But the rule is that anybody making over $5,000 has to be included in that employer plan. And what happens is that a lot of the part-timers, they might be at $5,005, and not have been included. So, I think we are putting plans in place maybe to track that a little bit better going forward. So that's that. Resolution 2025-222 is a resolution refunding or applying overpayment of taxes to certain property owners. there were 3 properties that had duplicate tax payments. So that's going back to them.
Okay. Nadine, legal.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2025-223 is a resolution of the Borough of New Providence authorizing the borough to participate in nationwide settlement agreement with Purdue to resolve claims involving their role in the country's opioid crisis. As we've had over the last couple of months, there's a variety of agreements related to opioid, and this resolution allows us to opt in to apply for that settlement agreement.
Okay. We have public safety, resolution appointing Mike Gelomini as a permanent patrol officer. I gotta tell you, I can't believe it's been a year already. Unbelievable. He's done a great job. Okay, resolution appointing Mark Martin as Class 3 Special. He will be located, he'll be the SLEO at Robert School. Okay, authorization to hire 2 police officers to fill 2 retirement vacancies. Chad Wilson, Sergeant Detective Bureau, gave us his retirement, and same with Bryce Garrison. So we wish them well. They've been great employees all these years. But now we need to be proactive and fill those seats. So there's going to be an opening at the John Stanley Union County Police Academy. So the beginning of September, so we can put them in there. And they'll be graduating in June of 2026. So it'll only be a few months without being a full staff. Okay, we have written employment resignations from Mark Grant and Marianne Panico for crossing guards, but we have 2 new ones, Micah and Bimbo Jr. and Elizabeth Rapperano. Resolution for Warner Whitman Public Safety Group. It's a long night. For fire department turnout gear and raffle applications, RA 1245 for the Rotary Club and RA 20 or 1246 for the MPHS bandwagon, and they've been properly prepared and reviewed. And they go to Alex or Matt for Public Works.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 229 is a resolution authorizing the application for the 2025 Greening Union County Grant for the Borough of New Providence. This is authorizing the application to apply for a $3,000 grant from Greening Union County. Every tree purchased by the municipality will be matched by Union County. It's a great program. This not only the trees are coming, they will be tree for tree, but they will also be installed by the forestry professionals with a 1-year maintenance guarantee.
We apply for this every year, don't we?
I'm not sure. Is it this grant every
Yes.
year or?
Yeah.
Because I remember 2,000 in years past, but maybe we're
2,500.
going for 3 this year.
Inflation.
We get something every year, so. Okay, we'll go to council committee reports. A couple things I just talked about retirements and filling the vacancies. So we'll be having to do interviews, which is so much fun. But one thing I do want to do is thank everybody, the first responders during the flood. I don't think people realize how lucky we actually were. Nobody got hurt. Nobody got killed, like in some other municipalities. In a lot of ways, we were fortunate, but we did have a lot of home damage. And I just, my heart breaks for them. And, I got a little water, stuff I can just vacuum up, but I've seen some of the devastation out there. It's just unbelievable. The DPW was outstanding. I mean, you saw those streets at night, there were boulders, there were logs, trees in the street. Nobody could get around anywhere. They had every single street open by 5 o'clock in the morning. They worked all night. Talk about unsung heroes. I mean, and anybody that has anything to say about the way it was handled or what people do here is, it just doesn't understand how and why government works the way it does. And it takes a long time to figure it out. And you can hear from Andy how strict the state is with touching any waterway whatsoever. I also want to thank Bernadette, how you managed to get all these repairs, coordinated and done was incredible. I also want to thank Jimmy Testa, the council, and Bernadette for being great financial stewards of the borough. There's a lot of towns around us that had to go out for emergency bonding to clean up. Because we do what we do here and what we've done over the years, we use the money that we currently have. And I think that speaks volumes about how we run this borough and how financially sound we are here. And I guess the rating agencies understand it too, because we kept our AAA bond rating. So I want to thank everybody. And I can't talk about National Night Out because I heard it was great, but I was on vacation. So, but I'll leave it to Kathleen.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just going to talk about the Diversity Committee. We met last night. We talked through the potential actions we can take to support diversity and enhance our multicultural climate here in New Providence for the remainder of 2025 into 2026. The next thing coming up is Hispanic Heritage Month, and some of our residents and committee participants have joined up with residents from Summit and Berkeley Heights, and there's going to be a joint event held at the Berkeley Heights YMCA on October 11th. And the Diversity Committee would like to be supportive of that, and so we will be bringing a request to council to be allowed to have a table at that event.
Can I stop for a second?
Yeah.
I thought we didn't have a diversity committee this year. I thought it was a next year thing that we were gearing up for.
No, we have it. The people haven't been officially appointed.
So who are
Right.
your
To the
members?
Well, like I said, nobody's officially appointed, but we have, you want the names of all the?
Like how many do you, like, I don't need. the
We have
name.
about 10 residents.
I think what they're getting at is that if they haven't been appointed, they're not covered by our insurance.
Understood, but this is happening
But they're representing the Borough of New
Hispanic-
Providence.
But that's kind of where I was at.
No, I mean, they're not. The Diversity Committee is not actually the ones working with Summit and Berkeley Heights on this. It's residents who are participating as unappointed members of the Diversity
But
Committee.
that's not what you're presenting to us.
No, I'm
You're
just,
saying that.
I would like the
Committee-
Diversity Committee to have a table there. I've offered to staff the table for the Diversity Committee, just like we did with Unity Day.
Yeah, but you're the liaison, you're not a member of the committee.
Right, well, I mean, we have to make a decision. Do we want a Diversity Committee or don't we? Because otherwise, we're not going to do anything this year. That doesn't make sense to me.
What doesn't make sense is that this should have been done where people are appointed, so they're covered by the insurance, because we're liable.
Well, then can we do a mid-year appointment
Well,
of the people who have?
we revised our procedures last year to appoint our committees, to actually go out to all the committee chairmen, right, to engage the committee members and others to try to re-up for the next year, right? I think what happened in years past is we've had plenty of committee members who just stopped going, and the list became cumbersome with people who weren't even doing anything.
Administratively.
And so we updated the procedure to have
Right.
that kind of all hashed out by the end of the year so that we can appoint them for the year and then go forward.
At the beginning of the year. So I think this year was going to be like a transition year. Like it was, you were going to go out kind of.
Yeah, we did, and we were, I mean, I've been reporting on it.
Yeah, that's
waiting,
why,
and
and
so-
I think you're recruiting for next year, which I think is great, right? The committee doesn't exist right now. We didn't,
It's,
but we didn't appoint, we appointed her?
Shonda
Yes.
got it.
Yeah.
Shonda, yes.
Okay. My apologies.
Yeah. no,
well, I
Shonda.
think, okay, so in this
We have
case,
one
it's,
person.
I would like to suggest that we make an exception and ask for a deviation from the procedure
So
so
I-
that we
I-
can get people
I would like to,
appointed.
I think we should take that back, to be honest with you. I'd like to talk to you a little bit more about that.
Okay.
And what you've been doing. I was-
Because
like I said,
people,
I
we
was
have
under the impression
momentum
this whole
built
time
now.
that
I
we
would
were
hate to
working
see
on-
people kind of walk away from it.
Yeah, listen, we thrive on volunteers in this community. We
Exactly,
talk about it all the time.
Right.
So
Most
let's
important thing we
just
do.
table this and then we can, have some discussions around it.
That's a great idea.
Sure, we can talk about it. I was just giving you an update as to where we are. That's it.
Diane?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to echo your sentiments about the borough employees, our borough employees. Thank you for your professionalism, your dedication, and all the work that you always do for our borough. Community activities has a bunch of things. I know I'm a broken record because I always say go to the source, go to our newprov.us. On community activities, there's still a week and a half of summer left, and there's still some spots in summer camps. So go to the website, call the department if you would like to try to sign up for those. The fall brochure is available on our website, and registration opens this coming Tuesday, August 19th at 9 a.m. for our fall classes. John mentioned, I don't know if I'm taking Alex's thunder, but the Sustainability Committee, in conjunction with the Rec Department, the Free Cycle Fest will be held on Sunday, September 14th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the community pool parking lot. Donation drop-off is from 9 to 12. I mean, you can always find some great things there. There was some storm damage at the DeCorso Center. Our insurance company came out and looked. So there's a couple things that have to be done there. So in the meantime, they're working with the insurance company, but the staff and all programs are located in the rec department. So it's a little tight, but they're making it work. And one other thing that I wanted to talk about communications, there was some chatter about communications after the storm, like we've all talked about. We didn't realize how incredibly quick and how much damage would happen in such a short period of time. So, just going from memory, Chief Hen, Bernadette, Alex, who else was on the call with us? Was it Lisa or Matt on the call? Maybe it was, we had a phone call about communications in and around the storms, and we had discussed that actually the borough has been proactive. We're looking for a new OEM coordinator, and that person might be able to have a little bit different coordination, communication efforts. So that is something that we have been proactive with. We've been talking about. It was something that we recognized, after the storm. So just to let people know.
I think you saw a big change between the first storm and the second storm in
Mhm.
communication.
Yep. So, and that's about it.
Lisa?
Summer's been a little quiet with some of the committees,
Perfect.
but beautification is still trying to get something on the calendar. But yesterday we did meet with public safety. We met with the fire department, John, Will, and Drew. John, Will, and Drew presented he presented a nice presentation just on the staffing and the challenges around volunteers and getting volunteers. So just a lot of insightful information that was presented there, and still a lot to come down the pike. So stay tuned there. And just, this is something that just has been been a lot of chatter around town is the proliferation of e-bikes, right? And they're not little mopeds like that we used to have when I was in high school, and they're not, manual bikes. They're e-bikes. They go fast. They're silent. I think they're being ridden without a lot of regard and without a lot of safety in mind. So we are talking about not just doing some education around the e-bikes and how to be safe, what you should do, how parents should be talking to their children about them, but maybe perhaps looking at some type of an ordinance but that's down the pike. But it is something that we're looking at, something that we're researching, looking at some surrounding communities and how they're handling it. There is nothing coming out of the state on this. They haven't added any kind of guidance on e-bikes at all. Their stuff is still around mopeds.
They actually did. They sent Chief Hand a 51-page
Today?
Today, yeah, right
Well,
before you
it
came in.
literally had to be about an hour after
It
I talked
was.
to them because I talked to
It
them
was.
around noon.
It was. It was right before you came in.
So him and Alex, Andrew Diamond, are going to be going through the whole thing and come up with some plans.
I guess I was a little premature.
Yeah,
Well, no,
Well,
because
you were accurate up to about an hour or two ago, a couple hours ago. So,
and
right? I mean, to be honest, right?
yeah, I
There's
had a
nothing.
long discussion with them. I mean, these kids are going around taking the governors off the bikes. They're supposed to be at a certain speed limit. They're going like 35 miles an hour. If you go on YouTube, there's a kid that pulls out of a gas station up in Montvale, pulls out goes down and hits a car broadside and lands on top of the car. Just unbelievable.
And we have pictures just even from New Providence
Oh,
of
it's
like
terrible.
being ridden on the sidewalk, where people are walking, it's getting a little crazy. So
apparently the guidelines are no bikes on sidewalks now. E-bikes.
Well, e-bikes should not be on sidewalks.
Yeah. So we'll see.
So we want to be
More to come.
proactive there and put something in place before something.
Yeah, you
happens.
just missed it. Lucky you.
That's all. That's all I got.
Operations normal.
No,
Quiet. Committees are quiet in summer.
just two things on my end. Sustainability Committee, Doug, John, Allison, we owe them a lot of gratitude and all the borough employees that submitted information. This was our last resort at trying to get the silver certification. A lot of paperwork, a lot of things we submitted in time, thanks to Doug's leadership. So we're hopeful, but we know we learned a lot from the process. If we don't get this, we're much more prepared for the next application. So, but thank you, John, Doug, and everybody else involved. Also, I think we're thanking the DPW folks for the storm, of course. Also, I want to thank Bernadette and the DPW, the special storm pickup that we had. That just doesn't take, let me just put together an Excel spreadsheet. I think we were also waiting for the DEP to approve the skiff that's going to take that all away. You have to make sure that is not contaminated material. But I know that was extremely well received by the community. It seemed like it took a long time to put together, but it really didn't. And so thank you on all those fronts. So all I have.
So you stole a little bit of my thunder there.
Sorry.
Well, I did want to talk a little bit about DPW and the storm cleanup, and I also wanted to share. I wasn't going to do this, but I think it's important to do it. Not everybody was happy, right? So we received a couple of correspondence, and I will not read them entirely, but I just wanted to put them on record. There was 3 different people that sent correspondence, and they didn't even put their own name, the full name, their address, or any of their information. There's probably a fake email, but I thought this was important for the public to hear. Cassandra M., I'm wondering just how good you are for this town. Talking about one of our employees. You just used our taxpayer money to clean up for people who are getting help via their insurance, which is not entirely true. I think it's best that you retire and let people who can properly take care of this town and those within it. And I think we can all agree nothing could be further from the truth. Kirsten L. wrote, "You are costing the town money for funds the homeowners are getting from insurance." Again, not true. Make the homeowners clean their own stuff with their own money. Shame on you, you overpaid mook. I don't know what that means. I hope that's really not a terrible word. Cheryl C. I can't imagine cleaning up what homeowners are already being paid by insurance to do themselves. You are truly an amazing person by taking the lead to join this abuse of taxpayer funds. Again, I just wanted to, it's terrible. And shame on that person that did that, right? And I just want to, put that in record for two reasons. One, I think it's disgusting that somebody would actually say that to one of our employees. And two, I want that person to know that everyone up here appreciates, as we all just discussed, how awesome our administrator is, our full administration staff, our DPW, everybody that has done an incredible job of helping the homeowners clean up after this storm. And what I wanted to talk about is like when you know, after the storms, when we go outside, we're like, wow, look, it looks like it never even happened. Well, it didn't just go away by somebody, twinkling their nose, right?
Well, you were in my neighborhood.
But people are out there, and our DPW worked overtime on their weekend, right, to help, our residents. And just like Alex said, and you guys all reiterated, it's a big task. And so thank you, Bernadette, for coordinating that. Thank you, Ralph, and his entire team for really just not only for this storm, but they're there all the time, every storm. They're just great. We don't appreciate them enough. I think we just think it's wonderful that we have beautiful streets sometimes.
And I would just tell you, in my world, in facilities management, nobody ever writes you, hey, you guys did a great job. It was very nice to hear the residents say how appreciative it is. And I think it's fair game to say maybe we're responding slow, maybe we're not doing it, but personal attacks, emails, action lines like that are completely unacceptable. And I hope we can find a way to figure out who did it so it doesn't happen again.
National Night Out, I did want to say thank you to everyone that coordinated that event. It's a great event. It's really, just walking around and saying hi to all of our police, right, who's led by our incredible chief, Dan Henn, talking to all of our fire members, right, led by John Signorello, and our EMS, members, led by Susan DeLuise. Like, she's been working in this town for over 4 decades. It just, every time I go, it's like, these are the backbone of a great community. These are great people. I just want to shake their hands and say thank you. And I really do enjoy that event. And I was able to wolf down 2 free hot dogs by the lines.
And ice cream.
And Rita's Ice, prior to the planning board meeting. So that was nice as well. And speaking on that, the planning board did meet on August 5th. We talked about Toll Brothers, 121 Chamlin Road. That was a carryover from the previous meeting. The engineer for Toll Brothers discussed the revised plans that they had made based on a lot of the feedback and comments and questions from the planning board. We had about another 90 minutes of questions and comments and concerns about the revised plans as well. And we ran out of time for the public to ask comments. There was probably half of the amount of people from the first one, and it was National Night Out and whatnot. But there was still plenty of people in the room, and I really do appreciate that. And I just hope and encourage people to continue to come to the planning board meeting. The next few steps are very, very important. So we're going to hear from the planner of Toll Brothers. We're going to hear from the architect of Toll Brothers, and we're going to hear from a traffic expert. And the public will get their chance to ask questions of the engineer at the next meeting. So, and then, I can say this all the time. At the end of the day, it's the more questions and the more concerns that are expressed, it's, you know, and listen, this is something that's being forced down our throat, right? We all know that, you know, it's not the greatest situation to be in as a town, but, you know, we want to make sure that we get the best outcome for us. And so having more people there, asking more questions and voicing their concerns, I think will help us get the best result that we can.
When's the next meeting?
And the next meeting is September 2nd, Tuesday, 8 p.m. right here.
It's so late.
They start at 8. You know, back in the day, people used to commute from the city, and we started them a little bit
I'm
later.
sorry, can I add a couple things? Since I forgot that we only have one meeting, because you have chat with the mayor on September 5th, right? And coffee with council will be back in September. That's it.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things. The Passaic Street Bridge Replacement Project, for those of us who have been watching the progress at the bridge, work has been consistently progressing since January. Initially, we were informed that the bridge would be closed to vehicles and pedestrians for approximately 12 months in order to complete the project. Based on the most current update this afternoon, the contractor is projecting a late September, early October reopening of the bridge.
Wow.
The most significant unknown variable at this time, though, would be the impact on which would impact the reopening is related to utility work for gas and water. So those are things, and again, that's not a project that the borough controls at all. The updates I get are from either the contractor or Union County. We do have very little input on that, but you know, they were very nice in providing me that for everyone today. As if you guys are like me and seeing the concrete poured, it's like, oh wait, we're close. Railroad crossings. So the crossings at both Livingston Avenue and Central Avenue and Southgate and Foley Square have yet to be paved as we are working through permitting with New Jersey Transit. New Jersey Transit requires a permit for any work, including paving, that occurs within or adjacent to its right-of-way, which is the property it owns or controls for railroad operations. And in our case, that is 25 feet in any direction of the tracks. The permit allows for safety of trains and passengers, safety of workers and the public, protection of infrastructure, maintaining train schedules, compliance with regulations and liability. There's the application is about 20 pages long for the permitting, and we are not permitted to be inside of that right of way for any reason to do any kind of work until their permit has been issued. So we understand totally. I live up in there. I cross those tracks every single day. It is not great, but we are working to get to a resolution with transit. So I just want to let you guys know that summer hours for borough employees is coming to an end, very sadly, on Friday, August 29th. The borough will also be closed on Monday, September 1st for Labor Day, and then we will resume normal hours of operation that week, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. The building department will be open from 8 to 4. And last but not least, school begins on Thursday, October 28th here in New Providence. I would urge drivers to be extra cautious and observe posted speed limits at near schools in downtown. And please leave additional time in the morning to drop off to ensure a safe and quick drop off.
August 28th?
August 28th.
I think you said October.
Oh, sorry. It's late. It's late and it's hot.
We know what you meant.
That's all I have.
That's it? Okay. This is an opportunity for any member of the public to be heard about issues that are not separate topics scheduled for public hearing tonight. To help facilitate an orderly meeting and to permit all to be heard, speakers are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes and may only speak of one topic. Please state your name and address for the record. Yes, John.
My name is John King, 54 Middale, and I just wanted to pile on with DPW what a great job they did. I happened to be over 2 days later, or a day later from the storm on Brook Hollow Lane, and there was a manhole cover that was off. And I called Bernadette's office. I was talking to a friend over there. Within 10 minutes, there was somebody over there. Normally the water just picks up the manhole cover and drops it back, so it sits right. And this guy came over, took care of it like that. It was perfect.
Awesome.
So it was great.
Thank you.
They'll come up, Alan, you're the last one.
That's by design, by the way.
Yeah.
We talked about that. The manhole covers coming off. If they didn't.
Alan Swanson, Overhill Road, as usual, I wasn't planning on saying anything, but she always brings something up that gets me up here. I want to talk about the e-bikes. I have an e-bike, and I like riding it quite a bit. It has a governor that says I can only use the accelerator up to 20 miles per hour. I could change it to 28, but that would not be legal in this state. It would no longer be considered a bicycle. My point is, there are laws on the books. If I ride down the street with my car and my back light is out, the police will pull me over and say, you have a light that's out on the back of your car and you need to fix it. When a child under 17 rides around a bike in this town without a helmet, nobody says a word. When a child over 13 rides on a sidewalk, nobody does anything. The issue isn't controlling the e-bikes and getting licenses for the e-bikes. If you give a license to a 14-year-old to ride around a bicycle and say the parents have to have insurance, that's not going to change their behavior. What needs to change their behavior is what forces us to fix the headlight or fix the tail light. Somebody pulls us over and says, you have to fix that. That's the solution. I mean, I was at the Sierra Club executive committee meeting last Saturday, and they have a resolution to go to the national office to basically ban e-bikes. This is the Sierra Club.
Good idea.
Who? I'm sorry? But they basically, it's because they can't, because all these people are not obeying it and they're just riding around and doing all these things. And I guarantee you, when I ride my bike around, very few people are doing much stopping at red lights before they turn. Things like that. And nobody's saying we need to ban cars because people are not obeying the law. I've been here for years talking about, enforcing some of the laws related to bikes, and I've primarily brought it up in terms of bike safety and helmets and what have you, and lights and things like that. But the e-bikes, first of all, you can't get insurance for an e-bike. But it's just, that's where we need to go, the route we need to go. I mean, Summit passed a law not allowing. I'm sorry.
You look at Summit's ordinances, according to this new manual that they, 51 pages from the state, Summit's is wrong already. So.
What is the 51? Where would I get that? The 51-page thing? I don't know about that one.
I don't know. And Chief got it, and we were discussing it today.
This is from the.
Go on sidewalks with them, the whole deal. So, he's going to go through it with Andrew Diamond, and they're going to come up with something so we can have an ordinance that if somebody's not doing something, we can take it.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Mess up Allen Street having the last word. Just to mess with you. Very, very quickly. Brian Gardner, 25 Knollwood. I just had a question on the New Jersey Transit right-of-way thing, and the paving of that. Is anyone looking at the signage and pavement painting by the Murray Hill train station? Because I don't know if you know the intersection. When you come over the train tracks and come down, you don't stop coming down, but the other two ways stop. And the way that it's signed right now is not the most clear in the world. So there's often there's a lot of near misses there. So if there was an opportunity to fix the signage and the road painting, this would be the time to do it. So I don't know if there's been any consideration of that.
I can have traffic look at it before
Thank
we
you so
change.
much. Really
Yep.
appreciate it.
Anyone else? Okay, declare the public hearing closed. And Jimmy, I'm sorry we made you stay here all night.
Had Lamar too.
And
Lamar.
Okay, I need a motion for items 1 through 20, please.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Ms. Belisca,
Aye.
Mrs. McKnight,
Yes.
Mrs. Jeffrey,
Yes.
Mr. Kogan.
Yes.
Mr. Kaminsky.
Aye.
Favorite part, motion for adjournment.
So
Second.
moved. So moved.
Second,
Yes.
all in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
No, so be it. Thank you all for coming tonight.